Good morning and welcome to a brand new week full of opportunities that you need to take advantage of. But it comes to those who are prepared for that. So I asked the question this morning, what kind of new skill set do you have? Now, according to Indeed, a recruitment agency in Canada, it says there are 20 new skill sets that we all need to have. At least you need to have, a couple of them. One of it is basic coding. So we all need to understand basic coding because the workplace now is relying heavily on computers. And if you're able to crack codes, then you're up for the new market. Again, you need to understand basic data analysis and statistics. How much of that do you know? You need to also equip yourself with digital literacy. You need to understand a foreign language. You need to know project management. How much of these do you know? So if you want to take advantage of the opportunities in the new marketplace, then you need to understand that you have to equip yourself with the new skill set. So if you haven't started, you better start now so you can take advantage of the new opportunities. So good morning, welcome, and start to think positively towards achieving all of those objectives. My name is Samuel Kojo Braze, and it's my honor to welcome you to the AM show on behalf of the entire team. Well, we'll begin the show with the news review segment, where we'll be having the executive director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, who will be our guest this morning. We'll also bring you AM Sport. Muftau Nabila will be bringing us something, the latest from the water sport. We know that Midiama was able to beat the opponent one goal to nil here in Ghana. Dreams FC also got an important away draw. We'll bring you all of those updates here on the show. We'll bring you the big stories this weekend. The governing New Patriotic Party will head to the polls to prune the number of flag bearer aspirants from 10 to 5. Now, ahead of that, we'll take a look at the aspirant and assess what they uniquely bring to the fore. Who would make the top 5? You can share your thoughts with us here on the show. You go onto our social media platform and leave your comment there. Who amongst the 10 do you think will make the 5? Our guest will be Evans Nimako. He's Director of Research and Elections of the NPP. Dr. Kwame Asante is political scientist at the University of Ghana, Legon. He'll be joining us. Now, also on the show, we'll have a conversation on our hotline documentary, Whispers in the Dark. Now, it's a piece on what could cause children as young as 7 years to contemplate suicide or even make attempt. What is really the causal factors here? We'll bring them out. We'll speak to stakeholders on this as well. And you know what? One of the biggest gathering of art and culture, Chalewete, is here again. As you're aware, the Multimedia Group is the official media house for this year's Chalewete event. So the festival will be held at the Black Star Square and its environs. Why the new venue? The new venue also is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Accra, dating back to the early 19th century, and has become an important part of the city's commercial and cultural landscape. We'll take you live to the venue for update. Now, we also have we'll tell you about the Chartered Institute of Insurance Ghana and their award, which is expected to be coming off. We'll let you have your say on the phone lines and also on social media relating to the topics I will be discussing, especially Whispers in the Dark, for all of us to understand why young people could be contemplating suicide. And of course, you have the opportunity to tell us who amongst the 10 flag bearer aspirants of the New Patriotic Party will make the cut and be part of the 5. This is how the show will go, and I believe that you join us with your thoughts so that together we can put Ghana first. Welcome again to the show. Up next is AM News. Stay with us. Good morning and welcome to the AM News. And as the Gans will say, Chale Wote. All right, now the Oti Regional Minister Joshua Makubu says there is nothing wrong with endorsing the aspirations of the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to lead the NPP into the 2024 general presidential elections. Now, according to him, the Vice President has a clear vision for leading the NPP and subsequently winning the 2024 presidential elections. The minister has been speaking to my colleague Peter Seno in that region.
The Vice President of flamboyancy and prolific spending. No.
It is alleged that you are throwing your support behind the Vice President to become the flag bearer.
Well, if I'm throwing my support behind the Vice President, I don't think there's anything wrong with. If you know me from for long, I'll always support hard work. I'll support ideas. I'll support Alice, a direction. I'll support a vision. I'm not that type of person that is capable of navigating my way in the midst of maybe when the situation is messed up. No, we need a direction. We need a vision. And I think Vice President, right from the time he became a running mate to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has always been at the forefront of telling the NPP that, look, we can go this way.
So you believe he's sharing his vision, his ability to lead the party into 2024 election?
Definitely, and be the next president by 2025.
The regional minister has also denied the allegation that he and some regional executive members have sabotaged the camp of flag bearer and hopeful Alan Kojo Chamanting during his tour of the OT region some weeks ago. According to the minister, members of the Alan's campaign team in the region have failed him.
Sometimes, what I've always said is that there's nothing wrong to fail, but it is very disastrous when you fail as a result of your own incompetence and you still go ahead to ascribe that to other people. Look, I like Alan, I respect him, a minister that has served in cabinet of 2 successive NPP governments, the government of His Excellency John Ajakun Kufuor and the government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I have no reason to want to sabotage Honorable Alan Chamanting. So if he wins primaries today, am I not going to campaign for him? If he becomes president and he decided I remain in the region, will I say because he's the president, I won't do that? But the fact is that his people in the region let him down.
Really?
Yes, his people in the region let him down. Let me tell you, the first time I heard the Honorable Alan Chamanting was coming to the region, I was in hope, and I had to quickly run down to there. Listen, I was here the day he was supposed to have come. I was in this office waiting, until a call came at the last minute that he was not coming, and they were going to reschedule. Look, the next time I heard of his coming was when he was actually in town, and that very day, I went to a funeral in Pru West, proceeded to Ejura Seche Dumasi, because we had lost an uncle there too, and I slept in Kumasi. That Sunday, I was on my way to Accra when I got a call that, no, it was a Monday, rather. I got a call that the Honorable Alan Chamanting was in the region and wanted to say hi to me. I said, but look at the time people are calling me. I am out of the region, and there's nothing I can do to come back. But again, when he was to come, the next time, I was informed. I sat here, and he came with one of my godfathers, Honorable Peter Amewu. I'm that type of person that, look, because of my background as a person with disability, if you like intimidating other people, you have no relationship with me. I want a situation whereby at least the environment will be created for everybody to exhibit their their self-confidence and then their talent. But when you are going wrong, I will tell you that no, you could have done this thing this way.
Let's still stay with the NPP because the New Patriot Party in the Tema East constituency says internal wrangling, which party regret deeply whittled down and thwarted its strategies and efforts in retaining the parliamentary seat in 2020. NPP's candidate at the time, Daniel Titus Glover, lost to first-timer and former mayor of Tema, Isaac Ashai Odampton of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, with about 10,000 votes. Tema East constituency chair Nene Ofoe Agbadiagba disclosed this when sole parliamentary hopeful Yohane Ama Ashite submitted his nomination form. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in the following report.
Tema East constituency in the Greater Accra region is largely considered a safe area for the new patriotic party, NPP. The party says it was well on course to retain the seat in 2020, but for internal wrangling, constituency chair Nene Ofwe Agbadiagba says, having learned their lessons the hard way, Tema East NPP is ready to make amends and unite behind their sole candidate, Yohane Amashite, who is also the Tema Metropolitan Chief Executive.
In the human institution, we lost the seat 2020 and it was a lesson learned. And for me, I have the confidence that because of the way and manner we have positioned ourselves for now, and all party members have understand that we should go with only one candidate, that will demonstrate the sort of unity that we want for the party. And I'm having the hope and assurance that we are going to recapture the seat. There wasn't anything wrong done. But you know, as human beings as we are, in a human institution, one will understand something, the other will not understand the other way. So I'm saying that we should close our ranks, come together strongly, and let us rally behind the elephant.
After receiving the candidates' nomination forms, Secretary of the party, Solomon Sakite, explained the next phase of the process.
Per the party constitution, we need to summon a constituency conference whereby if he has gone through the vetting successfully, we are going to, by proper acclamation, we are going to declare him our parliamentary candidate for election 2024. And from there, we are doing a lot of stakeholder engagement concurrently to build a formidable force to be able to compete. We are not just participating in the election. We're saying that any party that doesn't win power is a pressure group. For us, we are a political party that wants to win. And we have two elections to compete in, the presidential elections and the parliamentary elections. We've targeted to win both, and that is our main goal.
NPP's Tema East parliamentary hopeful, Yohane Amashite, en route to the party office at Tema Newtown, led scores of elated party faithful under police protection and danced to Jama and tunes from a brass band through the streets as responded to cheers from residents and interacted with them. He is confident of victory as nothing can stop it from happening. Yohane Amashite was quick to thank former MP Daniel Tatas Glover for showing support, which is part of the unity being touted.
We had some few challenges in the party. Because of that, we lost the seat. By the grace of God, I found. And by the mega grace of God, too, I happen to go on a post. It means only one thing, that the whole party is behind me. The whole party is solidly behind me. This is our seat. It's always been ours. We gave it out to the NDC. You know, in the jungle, when the lion sleeps, then everybody can do what they want to do. The cockroach will jump, the mouse will rise and move away. But when the lion wakes up, every animal goes to sleep. The lion has awakened. In Tema East, we are back one more time. Look at the people. Everybody's on board. And we are most resolute that this seat that went away is going to come back home.
Former MP Daniel Tatas Glover is happy with the party singing from the same hymn book.
It's refreshing. Say Yanya Ubiti say Yohane Amashite. He's a son, a true son of the soil. True and true.
A lot of things happened in 2020, and a lot of water has gone under the bridge. And by God's grace, we are united and ready to wrestle the seat from the NDC. Going into the campaign, he will rely on my achievements and that of President Akufo-Addo, and what he, the candidate, will be bringing on board. We are ready to push Yohane Amashite to victory with all our resources.
When I was here, they call a campaign.
Yohane Amashite, flanked by his wife, Mrs. Lola Asise Ashite, former MP, Titus Glover, party executive and faithful, NPP sees this as a big win. The candidate received blessings from elders and priests, including Saku Ulomo Achiboy Kopi II, who prayed to God and the ancestors to lead Yohane Amashite to victory in 2024. The supporters wore party paraphernalia, including T-shirt with the inscription Yohane Sunday Papa, to wait Yohane's good news. Kwame Yanka reports for Joy News.
Now to other story, students of Karachi Senior High School in the OT region are battling lack of water, which is forcing students to go into the community to purchase water at 1 cedis per gallon. The situation has brought untold financial difficulties to students. Female students are the worst hit as they struggle to get water during their monthly flow. Authorities in the school are making an urgent appeal to government and the NGOs to come to their aid. There is more in this report.
For so many people, access to potable water is not a challenge, even if supply is irregular. But this is not the situation for students of the Karachi Senior High School in the OT region. The school is grappling with acute lack of water, which always threatens to put on hold teaching and learning in the institution. Students have to leave campus carrying gallons into the community to purchase water at their own cost, which is impacting their finances adversely. The students say their academic work is being affected as they use time for study hunting for water.
Lack of water is a great concern for us. I spend 80 pesos on water daily. This is affecting me financially. Government and all students must help us. The issue of no water is really worrying us. It is affecting our academics. After class, we have to go around town in search of water. We come back usually tired and we are unable to study at preps.
Students make disguise themselves as if they are going to fetch water, this same water problem, and run to town, take it as opportunity. So if it will be possible, we say it so that the government will come in our aid to help us. If possible, they will fortify the school for us.
Challenges our school is facing is about the water problem. That is the major challenge we are facing in this school, which we think if it is solved, our academic performance and a lot of things will improve in this school. So we are pleading with the media and the old students. They should help us with our water problem.
For female students, the situation is even dire, especially during the period for menstruation.
When the girls are, they are mentally issues. When they are within that mentally period, excuse me to say that, it affects them because they need the water to wash their clothing, to wash their pads and whatever. So the water affects them a lot. Without the water, so some of them, you'll be surprised that some may even, because if they don't have the water, they may stay in the dormitory without coming to class.
Authorities of the school say their efforts to get the school potable water has yielded no results and are appealing to government and private institutions for support.
Our students have to travel to town to fetch water every day, and it has posed a lot of challenges for us. Some of them use it as an excuse to run to town, to do a lot of things that bring a lot of problems or challenges to the school. They use that as an excuse to break bounds all the time. Apart from the water challenge, we also have the challenge with accommodation. We don't have enough dormitory facilities to accommodate all our girls.
Whilst help is on the way, if any, these students have to struggle daily with all the risk associated leaving campus every day to battle it out with other community members for water. Meanwhile, some students are also taking advantage of the situation to run to town without permission.
Now, some residents of the Tolon district in the northern region have called for the immediate transfer of 4 top management members of the Tolon hospital to end what they call corruption and mismanagement at the facility. The residents named extortion, absenteeism by doctors and poor management of the facility, among others, as reasons they want them transferred.
The Tolon District Hospital is the second hospital in the northern region. In less than 2 weeks, residents have called for the transfer of their top management team, accusing them of mismanagement. A similar case resulted in the chasing out of office of the medical superintendent of the Bimbula Hospital and his colleagues. Addressing a press conference in Tolong, the assembly member for the Tolong electoral area, Mohammed Abdul Samed Chengpang, named some cases he said could have been averted if the management of the hospital had lived up to expectation.
On the 2nd of August 2023, when the midwife of Chifoil Keep compound called on behalf of a client named Abdullah Azara, a labor for urgent attention, she was told Dr. Kane, meaning doctor was not around. The ambulance service could not reach TTA and she joined her anti-sisters. Same happens to Botangle, Zel Botangle woman Shirazu Mariam. She was referred to TTH. She has also passed on. This case is present in Sagane. May the soul of these veterans rest in blossom. Zanjina Zala in Tolong, who narrowly escaped her death but lost the child after having detained in labor for 39 hours, waiting for doctor. That was on the 28th June 2023. She has recently been discharged from TTH. Furthermore, the case of Mohammed Alima, a 67-year-old woman with thoracic case, admitted on the 11th July 2023, sustained on oxygen for just 5 days. When she was to be discharged, the family was charged 5,000 Ghana cedis. I had to come over and intervene before it was reduced to 600 with active NHIS cards. Interestingly, with this woman case, I had to memo an officer 60 Ghana cedis to bring the officer in charge of S3 from Tamale to the facility to do his own mandatory job, of which he is paid monthly. Last but not the least, the dismissal of some selected casuals who worked for almost 16 months since 2021 without due compensation. These misgivings continue to wane the trust of public.
Mr. Chentuwene said the youth of the area will hit the streets if the Ghana Health Service in the next 2 months does not transfer these officials.
These people we are targeting, we are looking at for an agent transfer are Dr. Osman Abdullah, who happens to be the medical sup of the Tolong District Hospital, Madam Idris Suhairia, the accountant, Mr. Isa Aminu, the storekeeper, and Madam Adam Zainab, the administrator for District Health Management Team Office. I believe strongly, even if this engagement was not considered as a tool for overhauling in the Tolong District Hospital, these people would not have gone, inshallah, scot-free for the innocent life their actions have caused this district. Ladies and gentlemen, the law of karma really works. I hereby plead before the management of the Ghana Health Service to, as a matter of agency, get these officers transferred after a comprehensive forensic audit is conducted. We shall hit the street to the street if our request is not accepted within 2 months.
Well, Apostle Professor Opoko Onyina has challenged the African youth to embody the change they desire, beginning with their own resources, rather than rallying on state for change. The former head of the Pentecost Church said this when he spoke to Joy News after a forum in Accra to discuss matters affecting national service personnel organized by the SALT Institute. There is more in the following report.
Over 200 national service personnel gained insight from the one-day public lecture hosted by the Sandalos Advanced Leadership Training Institute in Accra. The event centered around the theme, Technology and Transformation, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and its significance for Africa's transformation. The Institute's Director of Strategy, Mauli Kofi, emphasized that the initiative aimed to boost Africa's knowledge capital and foster continental transformation.
We believe that the bedrock of transformation is knowledge. We have a strong belief being the youth, because that's the future of the continent. Now, if you start changing that now, by the time they get to the level of making policy, they will appreciate the importance of how policy should inform the generations after them. So our first entry point is the youth, because the mistakes of the older generation will repeat them if we don't reprogram and recalibrate the thinking of the young people. So even policy, the way it is now, the old generation may see nothing wrong with it, and it will be difficult to change them. But the young generation begin to see that no, if we want to transform this continent, we should have new and different policy. Trust me, in the next 15 to 20 years, all the people that are making policy now will be gone. The people that we are coaching and mentoring now will be the ones in charge. And we have to start reprogramming them to have a mind shift that can apply when they come into power.
The former head of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Opoko Onyina, emphasized that rather than waiting for the government, young people must be proactive and take initiatives.
The youth must begin with what they have. No, you see, we talk about systems and say that we must go around the systems. We have to struggle. So don't sit down and rely on the policymakers. You do what you are doing, whilst also the policymakers are being challenged to give opportunities to the young people and give them the instruments, the equipment, the resources that they need to be able to kick up and support the system. However, the young people must begin from where they are, have an attitude of changing the system and beginning with themselves, not going with the status quo, the taking of bribe, they see one another go through the loops and you see God opening opportunities for them.
Renowned Kenya entrepreneur Julian Kuyala, however, urged African governments to take measures to deal with the phenomenon of brain drain on the continent.
It's heavy. I mean, a lot of people are moving their companies to markets that are welcoming them because of tax, preferential tax treatment, citizenship. They're being allowed to change their citizenship and get dual citizenship in another country. They're being allowed to pack their technology in another nation, and because of that causes countries to lose very important. Can you imagine if Twitter or if an Elon Musk came from Ghana and had to leave Ghana to go set up elsewhere? He's holding 4 Ghana's or 3 Ghana's GDP. Why should we lose an individual who could completely change the tax bracket of an entire nation? We must encourage those people are going to come. The next Elon Musks are from Africa. The governments must catch up and make sure those Elon Musks are not going elsewhere.
Several lecture beneficiaries shared their key takeaways.
He clearly talked about our legislation. We need to try to make them understand or see our point of view when it comes to our innovative ideas.
It's a great lecture we had today, and I encourage all the youth to be very courageous, okay, to take up leadership positions and also believe in themselves, believe in their ideology. It's very difficult to break the system, but with togetherness and courage, we can also pass through the system, and at the end, we also see ourselves at the top.
I believe they are ahead of us in terms of age, knowledge, and skills, and they've shared quite a number of skills and impacted knowledge into us that we can use to build a better future, not only for ourselves, but the generation coming under us as well.
Reporting from the Accra International Conference Center, my name is Carlos Kaloni for Joy News.
And that's how we wrap up this morning's bulletin. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Up next is the AM News Review. Stay with us. So welcome to the News Review segment on the AM show, and thanks for joining us here and allowing us into your space. Joining us for the review segment is the Executive Director for the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleimana Brahima. Good morning to you, Chief, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Great. We have the Daily Graphic newspaper, we have the Daily Guide newspaper, we have the Finder, the Ghanaian Publisher, and the Custodian. Let's start from the Daily Graphic. On the front page, no development plan, no budget, NDPC Director General to MDAs. Ministry targets 25% science enrollment this year. West Africa security situation, coups set up, step up terrorist act, and according to a report, we'll get into that. Work to protect democracy, NCC to Parliament, be relevant abreast of changing trends. Nana Adwoa Hackman advises new lawyers. Let's start from the coup situation in West Africa. Now, the report, or the story written by Emmanuel Boni, says a mid-year review of violence involving African militant Islamist groups has observed spikes in violence and fatalities that coincide with the military coups in those countries. Data from the African Center for Strategic Studies indicate a surge in fatalities in the Sahel and Somalia. The Washington, D.C. based academic institution within the U.S. Department of Defense said fatalities linked to militant Islamist groups reached 22,288 over the past 12 months. This represents a 48% increase from the same period last year that saw 15,024 fatalities. Quote, this level of fatalities is about 2.5 times more than the pace experienced a decade ago and higher than the record of 20,562 set in 2015, mostly driven by Boko Haram's lethal use of violence, unquote. The report, which was released recently, stated. Now, I was asking myself, what could be the contributing factor to this?
Well, we find ourselves in a very, very unfortunate place now in our region and Africa generally. And it appears that we are basically refusing to acknowledge the realities and to learn from the past. We have been in a situation of coup d'etats, from 1960s all the way to the 1990s. We had General this, Colonel that, Major General that, as heads of states across our countries in the sub-region. And then, gradually we transitioned into democracy. And it's been about 30 years now for some countries, 20-something for others. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves getting back to where we had come from. And the question then is, why? What are the reasons? And for me, the reasons are just not far-fetched. It's only that our leaders are pretending not to know what the reasons are. But if you have a youth bulge, as we do have in Africa and even in our country, where thousands, if not millions, of the young generation who are supposed to be working are not working, and you find leaders, grandmothers, grandfathers, fathers and mothers in leadership position stealing from the people in order to buy houses, multiple houses in Accra, in order to buy multiple houses outside of Africa. Then to expect that the young people whose future is being stolen away would just keep quiet and sit down and watch what is happening, it's an unreal thing to expect. And so it's all a question of bad leadership over the years. And our leaders know. If they don't know, then that's a surprise. That, from all indications, what is happening is going to get us into more trouble.
But haven't young people been part of this process?
No, how many people? How many young people? Talk about Ghana. We say, over time we've seen government appointing young people into political positions. So ministers, deputy ministers, and so on. But how many of the young people? It's just about maybe 0.01%. And then they go in and they get inculcated, they get adulterated. They basically are oriented to behave the same way as the elders who led the struggles. And we were hoping that, with these people in charge, maybe things will be better. But things have not gone the way we expect. So for me, it's a question of bad leadership. And that is why I expect that ECOWAS, the AU, the UN, and all these multilateral institutions will begin to look at how do we even prevent more coup d'etats, rather than even getting ourselves into trouble with invading one country here and there, and then before we realize another coup d'etat here, and then the whole region is in turmoil. I don't think that we have to go that route. Let's deal with the question of youth unemployment, bad governance, corruption, that is giving people no hope, and people beginning to ask, what is the democracy we're talking about? Is it the one that we basically go into elections, elect some people to come and loot our resources and leave us in our poverty? I don't think that that is what people would appreciate as democracy. Democracy should be a system of governance that benefits everyone. And I believe if we get ourselves onto that path, then we would be gradually getting ourselves from the troubles that we are in now.
But how do we really deal with the leadership challenge confronting Africa when we've seen young people go in there and not making that, expected impact that all of us were wishing for?
Well, first of all, it's a question of whether the young people we talk about who get in or who are appointed are given responsibilities that enable them to really perform. Second is the fact that if you take Ghana, for example, we run a constitution that, look, everyone is at the beck and call of the president. We've had situations where, individuals who would want to stand up to the president gets fired. We have a situation where if you take Domelebo, for example, who was basically saying, look, the right things must happen. We cannot have people, abusing our resources and then going scot-free. In the end, what happened? The leadership of our country decided to find a new date of birth for him, and on the basis of that said, you have even retired. We've created a new date of birth for you, and you have to go on retirement. He was forced out of his office, and then new locks put in the office, and so on and so forth. So, until we have that individual president who is committed and really want things to go the way they should go, there's little that these young people who get appointed can do. And I'm not talking just about Ghana. Whether it is Cote d'Ivoire, where President Ouattara has had to abuse the constitution to continue to stay in power, or you're talking about Senegal, where President Macky Sall, has decided to basically become autocratic, ban opposition party, arrest opposition leader, arrest activists, and so on. Or you're talking about Benin, where civic space has completely been shut down. People cannot express themselves in the name of, a president who is delivering development. Or in Togo, where since independence, a president and a father and son have been in charge of the country for over 50 years now, and we still call that democracy. I think we need to talk to each other, say the truth to each other, and that's the only way we can get out of the situation.
But the Togo example then brings in another question. When before Nassim came to power, he was a young man, wasn't he? And we expected things to be different. It hasn't gone that way, and so I ask, how well prepared are the youth of Africa to exhibit a different kind of leadership from the old ones, or quote, OGs we see exhibit today?
Well, that's really a fundamental question. So if you were to take Ghana, and those of us who are maybe under 50 were to, and we know them in politics, I don't want to mention names, and you ask yourself, if any of these folks were to be made president tomorrow, would things change? And my answer I'll be quite pessimistic in my response, because we have a situation where it's almost like everyone is feeling the way to go is to loot money, make a lot of money, and with that you can be in power forever. And so even the young ones, when they get the opportunity, they are also looting. Unfortunately, our religious entities are not helping, and you have pastors and imams who perhaps are even amassing wealth as much as the politicians that we are complaining about, and therefore are not showing examples. Family values are being, basically bastardized. And so we are in a dire situation. We need a revamping of values, revamping of ethics, and it will all start with maybe an ethical leader one day, having an ethical leader who says, look, enough is enough. We must begin to reform our situation. Things must be done right. Let's build a future for this country. I want to lead in such a way that when I leave, 10 years, 15 years, people will remember me. When I even die, people will remember me. But that is not the kind of leadership that we are having. And unfortunately, we've not had that kind of leadership for some time now.
We can only hope for the better then. Well, to page 13 now, and it says no development plan, no budget. That's the NDPC Director General to MMDAs. Now, the story written by Timothy Nengbe says ministries, departments, and agencies that have failed to submit their plan of activities and interventions to the National Development Planning Commission will not be allocated any budget henceforth. The Director General of the NDPC, Dr. Kojo Mensah Abrampa, issued the quote, no development plan, no budget, unquote, directive at a high-level stakeholders workshop on statistical data collection management in Accra last Thursday. The directive follows the failure of 12 out of the 46 MDAs to present their development plans detailing project and interventions to the NDPC as required by law. Although he did not provide the names of the defaulting MDAs for administrative reasons, he said the report had been forwarded to the Office of the Chief of Staff for action. Dr. Mensah Abrampa said the NDPC was clothed with the mandate to approve MDA's development plans before a budget was allocated. I'm sure this is the way to go about this, but how effective will this be?
Well, certainly is the way to go. But if that has been the principle and the policy, then the question to ask is, those who have failed to comply, what are the sanctions? Is it basically about saying, oh well, no plan, no budget, and then that's it? And why is it that we don't even know the names? Why should it be a secret that we wouldn't know that, oh, it is this ministry or this department or this agency that hasn't complied with the fundamental thing about submitting, your plan, and then basically on the basis of the plan, a budget being allocated. So some of these things is about institutions demonstrating that they are appearing to be working, and it's also for our media. It's not enough to basically just report. This person says that no plan, no budget. And let's go beyond that. What are these institutions that have not submitted their plans? And what are the sanctions? Over the years, has it happened? Is it the first time it is happening? For me, these are the things that we should be doing as the media, rather than, oh, the NDPC says no budget, no plan, no budget, and then we just report it, and then it gets highlighted and all of that. I don't think that it is really what is helpful. We need to go beyond these things.
Okay. So you are expecting a penal regime rather than to say, I mean, if you don't bring it, you're not going to get your budget released.
Exactly. And as I said, on the part of the media, I think the questions to ask would have been, okay, if this is what they are saying, let's look at last year. What was the record? Let's look at the previous year. What was the record? So why is the NDPC itself not doing what it has to do? Whether it's about some sanctions being imposed, have we had a situation where an entity hasn't submitted a development plan and therefore no budget? Okay. If that has not been the case, why so? Because the NDPC itself, is it working? For me, these are the critical questions that we need the media to bring out, rather than basically reporting what some CEO has said.
All right, let's do the daily guide now. It says Nana gives 2.5 million to young entrepreneurs. Baumia is religious unifier, Presby moderator. Strive for excellence, law student told. Akosia Meno visits Ga Chiefs. Ghanaian PhD Arabic scholar returns home. Now, let's start with the story on page 3. It's written by Charles Techi Bwedu, presidential correspondent. It says, President Akufo-Addo last Friday gave out an amount of 2.5 million cedis to some 30 young entrepreneurs to push their businesses. This was when he presented awards to winners of the season 4 edition of the presidential pitch, meant to provide financial support for young Ghanaian entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 to 40. Caleb Edem Mante of Relu Interactives received 150,000 cedis in excess of 50,000 from what the winner of the third edition of the program received last year. In addition to that, President Akufo-Addo made a personal donation of 50,000, making a total of 200,000 cedis. He designed an application which is an interactive and immersive application of a petroleum drilling rig simulator that teaches postgraduate and undergraduate engineering students practical operations of a drilling rig. The second position went to Bismarck Etona Mensah, a young entrepreneur who uses fish for food seasoning without any additives, also known as Momone Cube. Well, I believe that encouraging our young entrepreneurs is something good, but having had this for 4 years running, what do you make of the impact?
Well, maybe it is something that we have to look into. I think it's a great initiative. Maybe we should even be doing more. 2.5 million Ghana cedis is quite an amount, but in the context of what we are looking at, that is really insignificant. We would want to see a lot of resources going into this. We've had it's called the NEIP.
Yeah. You're talking about NEIP and NAPE, that's it.
Yes, we've had that we would expect to see more support for young entrepreneurs. But over the years, the question you ask is what is impact? And I'm unable to respond to that because I haven't read any report about an evaluation or an impact assessment of the resources that have been given out so far. So it's something that we need to look into. Again, a call onto the media to say over the last 3-4 years, this program has been run. Let's find out the beneficiaries and what they are up to. How far have they come? And what kind of support do they need going forward? Otherwise, I think that this youth entrepreneurship initiative is a fantastic thing. We just need to run it in a way that over the next 5 years or so, we will begin to see giants emerge from these initial supports that are being offered to these young people.
All right. But for the young people themselves, how can we take advantage of some of these opportunities and to improve our ideas or even increase the production that we're involved in, those who are winning this sort of initiatives?
Well, I think it is really about we asserting ourselves, and I'm talking about young people here, asserting ourselves and understanding the context that we find ourselves in, and realizing that, look, the way to go is basically doing things by ourselves and imbibing the right values, ethical values, honesty, sincerity, accountability, transparency. Whether we are into our own businesses or we find ourselves in the public sector, these are values that would enable us to go far. And so for me, these are critical things. Whenever I get the opportunity to talk to colleagues or young people, I tell them, look, imbibe these values of hard work, integrity, honesty, and you would go far. And so for the beneficiaries and those who are still striving to benefit from opportunities like these, I think that would be my message to them. And those are the values that would enable all of us to go far.
Now, on page 9 of the same paper, the Daily Guide, it's a story by Ernest Kofi Edu. It says Ghana to post trade surplus, according to Fitch. Ghana will post its first positive current account balances in 20 years this year after experiencing a deficit of 2.1% of GDP in 2022. Ratings agency Fitch Solutions has stated. The UK-based company said the country's balance of payment will turn positive again in 2023 with a surplus of 1.3% of GDP, explaining that the expected reversal in the capital and finance account for the year is driven by IMF disbursement of $600 million each under the extended credit facility. Quote, the trade surplus will remain large by historical standards in H223 as import will contract more sharply than export due to weak domestic demand, unquote, the rating agency indicated. We've all been battling with how poor our economy has done. Hearing this, what does it mean to you?
Well, it's positive news, and I'm not surprised. I certainly expect that with the IMF now in charge of our economy, after our own people have run it into a ditch, I really expect that we would see positive developments. Over the period, we've seen some level of stability of our local currency, for example. And certainly that is because IMF folks are in town. You go to the Ministry of Finance and we are told there are even people, the hands holding people to try and improve our economy. And so I'm not surprised, as I said, with IMF in charge now, one can be a little bit hopeful, except that the conditionalities sometimes also make life so difficult for the ordinary person. In terms of the numbers and indicators, certainly with the IMF in charge and not our people that we had elected to be in charge, I suppose to see some positive developments in terms of figures, yes.
All right, now the final newspaper now. OSP makes strikes, and I'm sure they wanted to say strike, and Kisei Jabing, 186 killed in July road crashes, an increase of 30%, put pressure on Janta in Niger to comply with diplomacy, upon Nkrumah says. Dr. Baumia is a unifying force for Muslims and Christians, Presby moderator. Can government pay first 2 billion cedis coupons on new bonds, which will mature tomorrow? Now, let's start from page 4. It says 2 years after being sworn into office, the special prosecutor, Kisei Jabing, has showed a number of successes since replacing his predecessor, Martin Amidou. These include the establishment of an administrative and operational system. This has involved moving the office from a 3-bedroom house to a 10-story building and retrofitting the empty 10-story structure into a fitting office. The OSP has also moved from 0 permanent staff to 249 in September. They have also improved citizens' engagement through the establishment of a functioning website and multiple social media handles, and instituted a toll-free line for the filing of complaint. You were very vocal in, the establishment of this special prosecutor's office. Do you feel same that Kisei Jabing is really chalking some strides?
So the office of the special prosecutor, it's the office establishment of the office has been for some time now. Honorable Martin Amidou was the first OSP. There were challenges and all. At that time, we were told the new office complex was under construction and all of that. I really don't see moving from a 3-bedroom house to a 10-bedroom house as an achievement by Kisei Jabing, my good brother and good friend. I mean, this is government institution, government put up a structure and then you move in. I don't think that is really the achievement. And of course, the measurement of the impact of the OSF is not about the size of the office they sit in. It is about the extent to which corruption and corruption-related offenses are dealt with. Over time, we've seen a number of cases come up. We've seen a number of actions being taken by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. That is, certainly heartwarming, and we look forward to seeing a lot more. I, however, want to caution, because I over the last few months, have seen a pattern that appears to suggest that there is some public relations work that is intended to be done or that is being done to show up, whatever is being done by the OSP. So you see on social media, pictures and other infographics being thrown out about the achievements so far, what has been done, number of cases, number of staff, number of that. I think the office need to be very careful about the path that it wants to take. If it has been advised that, oh, look, let's do a lot of PR and get a lot of public support, get ourselves into the public domain and so on, a time may come they may regret that. I think given the nature of the office, what is important is let the work be done and let people begin to applaud the work that is being done. If the OSP is prosecuting someone in court or a matter has come up, like the Cecilia Adapa incident, and we are told the OSP has picked up, placed her under arrest. The last week or so, the husband was placed under arrest. Accounts have been frozen. And so these actions, when they are communicated, we would all begin to follow what is being done and appreciate the work that is being done. Rather than that intentional thing that is being done, oh, let's push it, let's showcase what is being achieved and all of that. A time may come that will backfire. I think they need to be very careful about that.
Okay. So they should, hold on a bit on the PR.
Yeah, I think they should tone down on the PR.
Okay, all right then. Now, 186 killed in July road crashes, an increase of 30%. Data compiled by the Motor Traffic and Transport Unit indicate that road crash death toll for July 2023 increased by 30.07% as compared to July 2022. A total of 186 persons were recorded to have died through road crashes in July 2023, whereas 143 persons died in July 2022. Cumulatively, 1,443 commuters were killed in road traffic crashes between January and July 2023. A road traffic crash and casualty situation report released by National Road Safety Authority showed that 149 of the dead were males, whilst 37 were females. A total of 1,328 persons got injured, with 213 pedestrians knocked down. We've done all the education we can. We've engaged on trying, all the campaigns trying to reduce this, but it looks like we're still not getting anywhere. What is lacking in all of those educations, and what ought to be done for us to achieve the desired goals?
It's a sad situation, and I believe we still have to do more public education. It comes down to the indiscipline on the road, and this is about individual driver indiscipline to a large extent. If you are tired, rest. If you are sleepy, rest. Don't overspeed. And yet you will still have people doing all this. You have arrests being made all the time, and the situation remains the same. I think it comes down to, first of all, driver indiscipline. We all need to be disciplined. The second point is law enforcement. We need to really get to the point where our MTTD officials who are doing a great job would move away from, what we all know. As in, they arrest you, you are a traffic offender, a road traffic offender, and you part with something, and then you are allowed to move. We cannot deceive ourselves that it is still not happening, even though we are seeing improvements over the years. These are things that are still happening. And so it's about self-discipline. That's number one, amongst our drivers and our road users. And number two is about law enforcement. We have to enforce the law, to the full effect. Other than that, we can complain about our roads, but strangely it appears that these accidents happen on even some of the better roads. Accra, Takrady, Accra, Kumasi, yes, some portions have problems. Kumasi, Techima, Kumasi, Kintampo. These are not roads that you would say are really in terrible shape. So it appears that the roads that are even better begins to be the ones that are, having fatalities, and it comes down to self-discipline and road traffic law enforcement.
All right, let's do the Ghanaian publisher now. Strive for Excellence, Anajo Hackman, charges law graduate. Baumia in a big lead ahead of Saturday's polls. Upon Nkrumah speaks to media CSOs on Niger. Domahene Lord government for project completed in Bono, and Operation Double Science enrollment in the offing from the Ministry of Education. Now, the latest polls conducted by Outcomes International Ghana and Center for Sustainable African Development Initiatives, UK, has projected a win for Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia in the impending special delegate elections of the New Patriotic Party with 72.6%. The special delegate-based survey saw Alan Chamantin with 7.7%, Kenneth Japan third with 4.3%, Kwabena Japan fourth with 1.8%, and Dr. Owusu Akoto fifth with 0.6%, trailing Dr. Bawumia. Ahead of this polls, do you have any expectations?
No, absolutely. I think that Dr. Bawumia certainly is a fantastic guy, but the reality is that the system has also been orchestrated in his favor. There's no doubt about that. Talk to every government official. talk to the regional chairman, regional secretaries, and so on. And it's obvious that, the government machinery is basically backing Dr. Bawumia. I have said that if Dr. Bawumia gets less than 80%, or in fact 85% of this super delegates votes, that will be quite a tricky one for him in the main primaries, because this is basically regional chairmen, regional secretaries, parliamentarians, ministers, and so on. And all these people appear to have been whipped in line. And my expectation would be that Dr. Bawumia gets even close to 90%. If he doesn't do that, then it's going to be a very, very dicey one for him in the main primaries of the party. And so, these polls that are coming up, I don't think it is something that is surprising. Okay. You don't need polls to tell you that for the super delegates, Dr. Bawumia is going to win. And that is partly because, as I said, people have been whipped in line to support him.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us this morning. Do have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, too.
Suleiman Abrahima is the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. And that was our news review segment. Up next is sports, but we do have a lot for you to stay with us. And remember to go onto our social media platform and share with us your thought on the discussion that we'll be having here on the show. We have two important discussions. We have them on that page. Leave your comment. We'll read that at the end of the show. But we're grateful to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic for helping us out with the news review segment. Now we're offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening at several of our locations. In Accra, we're located at Spintex opposite Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Chronom Abohia behind Angel Educational Complex. In Takrade, we're at Tanaja Estate. Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa. In the Nzema area, we are located in Esiama. Give us a call on 0244-867068 or 0274-234321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic diseases. And it's now official. Joy Prime, Joy FM, and other MGL platforms are media partners for the biggest carnival in Ghana, the Chalet Wote Street Art Festival. It's an annual colorful festival of sights and scenes with thousands of revelers to be treated to rich African heritage, art, dance, street painting, graffiti, murals, you name it. And trust me, with a multimedia group involved, it's going to be an explosion. It's going to be a promotion of our creative arts economy while achieving the mission to sell and promote Ghana. And just as the name Chalet Wote suggests, the festival is flip-flopping to a new location this year, Osu. So come along, let's go make unforgettable memories at Osu from August 21 to 27, 2023. So that's it for Chalet Water. I'd love to see you there, so let's meet there. But again, know this, that water is life. Awake is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect sizes for all purposes. 330 ml and 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags. 750 ml for the heavy drinkers and 1.5 liters for those who always want more. Our 19-liter jar bottles are ideal for homes and offices. All you must do now is drink Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. Choose a bottle of Awake Purified Drinking Water today and get quality hydration. Awake Purified Drinking Water, we say one for life. And remember that for every bottle you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center, so that we can support those who are undergoing operations there. Another quality product by Casapreco Company Limited. For bulk purchase, please call 0262351251. This advert is FDA approved. Well, we'll take a quick break. When we return, Muftau Nabila will be joining us with latest from the world of sports. Stay with us. So welcome back, and let's do some politics now. The NPP is heading into its special delegate congress this weekend to prune the number of flag bearer aspirants from 10 to 5. Now, ahead of that, we take a look at the aspirant and assess what they uniquely bring to the fore. We're asking who would make the top 5. So go on to Facebook and let us know which of the 10 will make the first 5 for you. So who will make the list on your 5? Our guest this morning is Evans Nimako. He is Director of Research and Elections for the NPP. He will be with us. Evans, good morning to you. Trust you're well. Kindly unmute so we can hear what you're telling us, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yes, thank you, my brother, for having me, and good morning to you and viewers across the world.
Grateful that you found time to join us here. Also, will be joining us is political scientist Kwame Asante. He is a political scientist with the University of Ghana. He's director of the Center for European Studies at the same institution. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Nimako. If you look at the 10 candidates, I'm sure you've done your research and you know what each of them brings to the table. So what does each of them represent?
Thank you for having me once again. I think as a party, there's a mandate emanate from our constitution that says that the party will have to select for itself a presidential candidate. And where after the vetting, there are more than 5 of them, the party will then have to conduct what we call special electoral college, so that the general election will have no more than 5 in a contest. So after the party put together the elections committee, which was chaired by Professor Aaron Michael Quay, all the 10 prospective presidential aspirants were vetted. The report was accepted by the National Council that gives them the mandate to campaign across the party's rank and file to seek their mandates. And so afterwards, the party has put together what we call the Presidential Elections Committee, which again is chaired by Professor Aaron Michael Quay, supported by other senior party members. And their work is simple: to ensure that there's a conduct of this process with the support from the Electoral Commission and Ghana Police Service, with the engagement of all the prospective candidates to have a free, fair, transparent presidential primaries conducted. And I think the party is on course. What I would say that as a party, for those who have the boldness, the confidence to put forth their strength, their energy, resources to drive the party's campaign towards election 2024, we acknowledge all of them. It is that reason that the National Council said that they approved the report of the vetting committee. And so they are all in there. The party is of strong conviction that any of them who emerges as the presidential candidate will be sold across the length and breadth of Ghana, and that person will become the next president in January 7, 2025.
Oh, you have confidence that the person will, huh?
It is not in doubt at all. The New Patriotic Party has numbers across all the 275 constituencies, from Adansia Soka to Zebila, Elembele, Ebuaka South, and you can name it. The New Patriotic Party, I can tell you, is confident that come December 7, 2024, majority of the voters on the ballot will once again vote for the New Patriotic Party. I mean, for you and maybe other colleagues, you've seen elections 2012, 2016, 2020, and we know our opponents. Nothing good will come out of them. I can assure you, the New Patriotic Party is supporting this government with all the necessary support for the government to provide the necessary leadership and drive Ghana's development out of this difficulty the whole world finds itself. And I can assure you that by the time we get to December 7th, you will be here and you see what the good people of Ghana will do to the New Patriotic Party. Massive endorsement.
You had an even bigger conviction that you are going to win the 2008 election because of the stellar performance of the then President John Ajikun Kufuor, but you lost it to the NDC. Professor Atamils won that election. And when the economy is in such a turmoil, you still have similar conviction that you will win. I mean, if you listen around, the thought of the general populace doesn't seem to sync with what you're telling us now.
Okay, so I disagree with you. And let me start. In 2008, and let me make the point that no two elections are the same.
Okay.
And if you look at the 2008 elections, the New Patriotic Party won the first round with over 102,000 votes. Except that we couldn't meet the constitutional threshold. And so that was 2008. We learned our lessons. And then we got to 2012. You saw what happened in 2012 to the extent that when the party petitioned, we saw live and colored the proceedings at courts and all that came out of it. So the New Patriotic Party was so certain and sure that the 2012 elections, we won it. But whatever happened is history now. We got into 2016 and massive endorsements. 2020, the good people of Ghana said, yes, we will still endorse Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We will split parliament. We will give half to NDC and half to the New Patriotic Party. And we've all seen the performance and the posture and scope of the current parliament. And I think that for every stage, each stakeholder is learning from the challenges that confront us. And so for us, we are very certain that even though there's a general difficulty that across the world and Ghana is not out of it, going into the next elections in December 2024, the story will be different.
Now, some of your party executives, I mean, the national organizer, the former organizer, Samia Oku, they've all said that it will be very, very difficult for the party to win. Samia Oku, for example, says NPP has to work twice as hard to win the 2024 elections. You agree with him or you disagree?
I don't disagree with him. No election has been won on a silver platter. And no competition, you won't go into any competition and win without hard work. And so, yes, we will brace ourselves with the difficulties around it. And I'm saying that winning elections requires some strategies. And the New Patriotic Party is ready to put on the table. We are going to go through all the 38,622 polling stations. We are going to go through all the 6,272 electoral areas. We are going to go through all the 275 constituencies. And I can assure you, the New Patriotic Party will pull the numbers. And by the time you collate the results, you will be our witness. That majority of Ghanaians will once again endorse the New Patriotic Party. Yes, so yes, the former organizer, Mr. Samia Oku, has said that we need to work harder and harder, twice the effort we've put in previous elections. That's why I said no two elections are the same. We are not going to just sit in our rooms and expect that people will cast their vote for us. Whoever the party is elected as the presidential candidate will be sold across all villages, all constituencies, room to room, voter by voter, will preach our message, and we are confident that we will get the numbers to constitute the next government in 2025.
What qualities should the flag bearer of the party going into such a very hard election 2024 have in order to help you amongst the vote that would make you form the next government?
The 10 presidential aspirants of the party who went through the party's rules and regulations put together by the National Council at the vetting meet all the constitutional requirements by the 1992 Constitution, that for you to be a president of Ghana, you must be about 40 years, you must meet these constitutional thresholds, you must be of sound mind, you must ensure leadership, exhibit it in all your actions and inactions. And we've seen these gentlemen across Ghana's political landscape. We've known them, and we are so confident that the kind of leadership that Ghana would need to drive us to the next step, they have them. And so we will first conduct our internal elections and select them. And people with integrity, people with leadership acumen, and you can name it across the first candidate to the 10th, that the New Patriotic Party is ready to bring on board somebody who will lead the developmental drive. The other issue that confronts the whole of the world, as I've said earlier, Ghana is not out of it. And so you need the person who put together the united front and build a team that will help Ghana come out of its challenges. And that is what the New Patriotic Party is up to.
The main opposition party, the NDC, has a former president, John Dramani Mahama, who seemed to be gaining, more grounds if you listen to the generality of the people out there, because of what's happening to the economy. And on top of that, the EIU is also predicting that the NDC is likely to win both presidential and parliamentary elections at the 2024 polls. Now, it says, and quote, our baseline forecast is that the economic hardships, the fallout from the debt restructuring, and poor governance will create an anti-incumbency wave and push the electorate to seek change. The NDC therefore stands a strong chance of winning the 2024 presidential poll and securing a legislative majority, unquote. So the EU is saying this. The NDC has John Mahama as their presidential candidate. How then do you intend, what kind of qualities are you looking at to be able to match John Mahama and to eventually win the election?
Thank you. Research reports are for me an advice, and it's a word to a wise is enough. Before the NDC went into their internal elections, EIU had come out with their baseline report. They have said that the NDC may win the 2024 elections, but they will have to change their presidential candidates. We've known Mr. Mahama. We contested him in 2012, 2016, and 2020. And in order, the New Patriotic Party is confident that these are elections he lost. He's not coming with any new policy, and name it, if the NDC under Mr. John Mahama has been able to give to Ghana any policy that would drive Ghana's developmental agenda. Yes, I appreciate the challenge that the world is going through, same as Ghana, and I've said that, I've been candid to say that we are not out of the challenges that the world is going through. The internal challenges we've had have had to do with economic issues. And so the elections ahead of us is going to be in December 2024. When the New Patriotic Party took over in 2016, it wasn't rosy. It wasn't smooth. The party put together the team, the government worked very hard, and we saw Ghana's economy becoming the fastest growing economy in West Africa and even in Africa.
Okay.
I can assure you that the challenges that we are going through will soon be a thing of the past. And nobody is going to build Ghana for us but ourselves. But for NDC, Well, they can consume the EIU report, tickle themselves and laugh. The New Patriotic Party is not going to rest. We are going to work very hard. We will support the government to come out with a program that will take us out of the challenges that we are going through. I don't think anybody is happy that we will have a situation where the economy is going through these difficulties. But largely, if anybody will be candid to himself or herself, it hasn't been the cause of the government to have this situation, Ghanaians going through these difficulties. And so the government is working day and night to ensure that we get out of this situation. And I am very confident that the New Patriotic Party will devise the solution and will soon get out of it. And the EIU report subsequently will not be as this. And I take it that this is an advice. We have to work very hard, go to the very length, make contact with voters, do the needful, and we'll come with ideas, programs that will shape the well-meaning of Ghanaians, and not just to throw in tantrums and propaganda.
What is your own research telling you? You are the director of research. I'm sure you've done, your research into your party's prospect. What is it pointing to? Because EIU says, from the look of things, it's not yours. But you say they may be wrong. What is your research telling you?
Today, as we speak, is 21st of August 2023, isn't it? We are going to go into the elections, God's willing, in December 7, 2024. There will be overturns. The New Patriotic Party will overcome this situation. Here is saying that the challenges has to do with the economy and some governance style. What else do you expect from the government? And the government works every day and night to ensure that we develop programs to transform Ghana's development. That the government has not rested. And so I will not solely rely on the EIU report. And my brother, let me tell you, before the 2016 elections, the EIU were coming out with their usual baseline reports, but we were not taken aback. We worked hard and we're saying that, yes, these reports are supposed to advise us. We'll take it on and work hard and win the December 7, 2024 election. With respect to parties' internal research, it's not everything we put out there for public consumption. As and when we will do that. But I can assure you that victory awaits us in December 7, 2024. It demands hard work. We are ready to work harder and harder to retain power.
So as we speak, you haven't done any research about your prospect, right?
That's not what I said. I said that what we do as a party in terms of going around, seeking views, taking concerns, putting them together, helps us to restructure the way we plan. Okay. And the party is going to put together activity that will ensure that we'll win majority of presidential votes and majority of parliamentary seats to change the dynamics. You've seen how we are conducting our internal elections. It's not out of place. Leadership is informed by concerns from the base, and we are a listening leadership, and we are ensuring that everything we have to do will meet the aspirations of our stakeholders, and we are working towards that.
All right. Grateful, stay with me. Let me bring in Dr. Kwame Asante. He is a political scientist at the University of Ghana. Doc, grateful for joining us here.
Good morning, Kojo. How are you?
I'm well, and I hope you're well too.
I'm very well.
Okay. Looking at the state of the economy, the NDC has its own flag bearer. The NPP is going to elect, they are going to choose 5 out of the 10. What do you think should be the focal point for the NPP delegate in choosing someone they know is going to go against someone like John Mahama?
One, they need a candidate who appeals to the rank and file of the party in the first place, and that person, by extension, is also well received by Ghanaians. We need that type of candidate. that candidate will be in a position to pool votes to them. And you and I know that in elections, the numbers are very critical. And one vote will move a candidate, somebody from a position of a candidate to what? A president. And the same thing is extended to what? A parliamentary candidate to what? An MP. So aside that, you need somebody who has little baggage, little or no baggage. Why am I saying this? Because if you elect somebody with a baggage, one, you will not be able to do campaign meaningfully because your opponent will dwell on that and then develop messages that will always leave you to be answering questions why he or she is undertaking campaign effectively. So you try to have people with little or less baggage, little or no baggage, so as to be able to plan so that whenever they develop anything against that person, you have what it takes to respond to that. You need somebody also who is well abreast with the problems of this country, not only the problems of the NPP, but the problems of this country, so that the person has a superior understanding of the issues and has solutions to the problem. You don't want to put in any ordinary person just because he's a member of your party and all that. But you would need people who have what it takes to be able to understand the dynamics within the country's problems, and then they have the wherewithal to address the problem head on. Besides that, you also need somebody who has whose vision go beyond the party NPP into what? The country at large and even beyond. That person becomes the rallying point behind all the political actors within the political space of Ghana. And the last aspect is that you also want somebody who is marketable and can rub shoulders with any other flag bearer who emerged from the other political party. So it's a whole lot of a tall order that the party needs to go through without pandering to issues such as what? Ethnicity, that this person, the bulk of the people believe that he belongs to this ethnic group. For that matter, we want to vote along that line. Issue of loyalty is important, but we want somebody who has what? Proven track record and can deliver. Competence is critical because the person can be as loyal as your mother or your wife to you. But if the person is not competent, I'm afraid you are wasting your time, because at the end of the day, election is about what? A contest of what? Ideas and what? Referendum of your work. And the work here, we are talking about your record and your actions and all that. So it's a huge tax on the shoulders of the delegates, which they have to discharge very creditably.
But amongst the 10, don't they all have these qualities you're talking about? I mean, be somebody marketable, have vision beyond the party, and someone who can really, compete with the opposition party.
All of them, I must say that they have at least some of these qualities, but some have more than others, and that is where the difference comes in. You have some who have wealth of experience, they are knowledgeable, they have solutions, and they have, what it takes to be able to lead a party like this and then contest for election within the year 2024. And there are people like that. The baseline, they all meet the requirements, but on specific terms, some have more than others. And that is how the whole thing is going to be.
Okay. Now, I mean, several reports, and if you look at the general populace, the reaction from the general populace, it's sought to say that, I'll point to the fact that the NPP is not likely to retain the seat. But the NPP party itself is confident that because no election is the same, I mean, the director of research and elections was telling me this morning that because no election is the same, and then they are confident of turning the economy around, they will be able, they will win the 2024 election. From your own, analysis of the situation of the country, does it look like it?
This is $1 million question. The issue is that it's early days yet, and for you to be able to speak and speak authoritatively on this matter, you should hit the ground and pick some data to be able to convince yourself that this is the situation. I haven't done that, but I can infer and look at existing literature and then make use of them and then give some commentary relative to that without necessarily sticking my neck out as to who will win and all that. Yes. If you look at NPP, the answer that the party's research director gave you is nothing but what to expect from a political party. They will not tell you they are going to lose. Every party is in to win. It follows from the rational choice theory and all that. So that we can understand. But the real issue is that we have to address our minds to are the following. One, for you to win election in this country convincingly, the economy is the number one priority of voters, irrespective of party ideology, irrespective of party tradition, irrespective of wherever they find themselves and their groups and all that. The economy is key to them. They want somebody, or they want a government for that matter, who will be able to address the economic challenges of the country and create a means of livelihood for them. Failure to which, I'm afraid, you are going to incur the wrath of voters. This is going to be a daunting task for the NPP relative to the variable I'm talking about the economy. Because, yes, we have seen how the party has mismanaged the economy to the extent that we are in IMF and the rest of them, irrespective of the fact that they are trying to defend in a defending act that they attribute this to the forces of Russian Ukraine war and the rest of them, which that argument you and I know that cannot hold water because their own deeds have also plunged us into this direction. But that aside, you realize that the economy is critical. Even if they fix the economy today and then we go to the elections, the economy is on the right footing. The question, the $1 million question to them is that are they the one who did it or it is the hand of the IMF and all that? This is a difficult question for them to answer. Because if they were the one who did it, they wouldn't have gone to the IMF in the first place. And the voters always want to see if a political party will be able to address that problem. So that is going to be a big challenge for them as far as the economic variable is concerned. Two, the issue of infrastructure development also occupy the attention of voters when they are voting. They want to have infrastructure development in their constituencies. And if you look at the directive principle of state policy, it affirms that infrastructure must be developed in every aspect of the country so that every portion of the country will have its fair share of that type of development. In this difficult situation we find ourselves economically, is it the case that the NPP will be able to deliver infrastructure development to the people around this time, up before the election? That's a difficult one, because where are the resources to push this thing? It's going to be difficult, and that will always be used. The things that NPP will not be able to do, the opposition, it will serve as raw materials for building campaign messages against them. And so that is another difficulty for them. Apart from that, issue of corruption is a critical index of measuring voter choices in this country. The corruption fight has been difficult for the government, and we have seen a lot of examples in the second tenure. And if you look at Transparency International report, you and I have no doubt in our mind that the government has not been able to manage corruption well, and that is why we are where we are. We are not doing well. So all these things will also feature, and it will be part of the calculation of voters in deciding who to give their mandate to. Then you move to the issue of, rule of law. Is it the case that Ghana, there exists rule of law with a component of equality before the law and due process? Are the two working the way they ought to be And these are some of the considerations. And then they move on to look at what health, education, and the rest of them. Up to issue of transparency, accountability. So it's a whole tall order. And all these things, if you look at the current happening, it's going to be difficult for the party to defend some of these things and articulate their views clearly and navigating the process so as to make sure that they win the sympathy of Ghanaians and then they are retained. It's a difficult one, but as I've said, I've not hit the ground to pick data to speak with my chest out, saying that it is this party that will lead and this party that will take a trail at the end of the day. I'll hold my fire for now, and then we'll look at it from a more qualitative perspective. And later, when we get the quantitative data, we can make more sense of what's happening.
So in the face of all of these that you've enumerated and the challenges that confront the nation, who amongst the 10, can really bring the party together, face the nation and say, well, even if we are not able to turn the corner, count on me and I'll be able to do it?
That's another difficult one. Research should be able to prove this, but I've not gone to the field. But I can also look at it from the same perspective as I've discussed the earlier one. If you look at the 10, I can say without fear of contradiction that they are men of substance and they have what it takes to lead the party. But of course, some have more than others in terms of the qualities of leadership that we require for this country. I can say that looking at them, I believe that the first 5, you can have people like Kwatie Japo featuring strongly. This is somebody who has worked with a whole vast of experience from the New York bank, and then from his position within the party, he has demonstrated beyond reproach that he is a man of wit and competence, and have what it takes to lead a society such as Ghana with a wealth of history and guiding him to be able to be a good leader for the party if the party votes for him on that day. So it's a material worth considering, and I believe, I have no doubt in my mind that he can also be part of the 5 that will be selected for the grand finale. Alan Chemating has also is somebody who has what it takes to lead this country, and I have no doubt in my mind that he will also feature within the 5. He's a man who has served his country very well. He's without, there is nothing that you can say against him in terms of corruption. He has worked and then demonstrated his competence in the area of innovation. Remember the issue of what Friday wear and a lot of things that he did in the industry. They are there for the world to see. He has a lot of ideas, and he has what it takes to be part of the fight. Okay. If you look at Bawumia, there's no doubt in my mind that irrespective of politics, which people have bastardized him as somebody who is incompetent and all that, I have a different view. That yes, he's competent, he has ideas, but the bigger question for him is that in spite of all his economic ideas and all that, how far we have arrived in terms of the economy today is a question, $1 million question that awaits him, and that of Alan Chemating, who have been part and parcel of the economic system of this country. But I'm sure that they have what it takes to be able to explain this. But Bawumia, I have no doubt in my mind that he's solid and he's good and he can lead the country. Kennedy Japan is a grassroots man, and he appeals to the masses, the rank and file. He has what it takes because he has demonstrated as a single individual within the business world that he is successful and continue to be successful. He's a man who speaks practical of issues, and then he is also a darling boy of the party. So I have no doubt that he will also feature in the party's 5 people who will be selected on 26th. The next person that I also believe that he will also feature in there is Mr. Kwabena Ejapong. Ejapong has been a very serious party man. He has served the party through thick and thin, He has all the experience from the time that they lost power in 1979 up to the time Kufuor gained power, and then his position as somebody close to the president. He acquitted himself so well, and then he did his best to serve his country and continue to do. He is a known person within the NPP fraternity, and I have no doubt that he will be a good material if the party also selects him. So for me, from where I sit, without hitting the ground for research and all these things, if you look at the issues from the information I take and then the literature and the rest of them, my analysis is that I will, pin down this five, Alan Chamating, Bawumia, Kennedy Japong, and Kwabre Japong as five who will definitely feature. And then we go to the last header for them to whittle the whole figure to one. And that is the crux of the matter.
Interesting. All right. So that is for NPP delegate. I mean, Dr. has presented as five: Boache Jakon, Alan Chamanting, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kennedy Japon, Kwabene Japon. So that is what he thinks, and he's giving, the things that should guide you in this election. But when the NPP is done, it has to think then about uniting the party, about how the party will be united to go into 2024 to face John Mahama. Who amongst these five can really unite the party?
If you look at Boache Jack, I'll take them individually.
Okay.
He's a unifier. If you look at his demeanor, his actions, and he's a very strong man on the ground.
Okay.
His no is no, and yes is nay. Yes. In other words, he's very firm. And the party needs such a person to be able to see wrongs that have been committed against certain people, or be able to pick up the pieces and then bring everybody to board. Boache Jack has that quality. Alan Chamating is also in that direction, in that bracket. He is a faithful servant of the party. He has lived all his life working with his heart and with all his might for the party. He's somebody that people listen to in terms of deliberation discussions within the party. So Alan has what it takes. Bawumia is another fantastic man who can also lead the party. Even though he joined quite late, but I tell you that he has endeared himself to the heart of many within the party. And then when he speaks, people will listen. Kennedy Japon, fantastic. He can do this thing with ease by bringing all the party people who are affected one way or the other and disgruntled together. And so is Kwabre Japon, who the party see as a rallying point and all that. They all can do that. But the way and manner they can handle this is where the distinction will come as to who will be able to do it best. But I believe that the party over the years have worked with these people one-on-one, and they know from their records, from their engagement, from their activities that this particular person will be able to do. That one, I will not be able to pinpoint the exact person who will be able to do that. All of them have the qualities, but I tell you, the parties don't underestimate their capacity. They will be able to pinpoint out of the people who I have mentioned, one who will be the rallying point behind any peaceful process to unite the party. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever in this regard.
Let's look at the campaigning so far. Do you get the impression that it's been a bit, outside of clean, such that it will take more to unite the forces after the election?
Campaigns are always riddled with problems, and I'm not surprised that the NPP, through this process, confirm my thoughts and what I have read over the years. But it's early days yet. If you look at the way it started, and then people started talking, now you realize that the tempo has gone down, and they are now coming back to base to realize some of the calls by the public to the extent that they have told them that, look, if you continue on this tangent, at the end of the day, you are going to what? Destroy each one of you who has the potential to lead the party. And when it comes to what? Repackaging that person at the end, who has won the election, it becomes so difficult. So I'm sure that cool heads are prevailing now. They have learned from the public that if they intend to what? Undertake character assassination of each one, they will end up destroying all of themselves. And that whoever will emerge victorious, it will be difficult to market that person. So you realize that at the tail end, when we are getting to the election, they've toned down in terms of their attacks, in terms of the way they handle issues. We saw from the initial stages where they were attacking each other, they were bringing out certain issues which some of us feel that they are unnecessary. They are going to be raw material for campaign against them. They brought all those things out. They were also in a habit of, attacking the current government about what its performance and the difficulties that the government finds itself and all that. You realize that these were some of the naive positions that they took, let me put it that way, because you don't attack the record of your party and then rest in the hope that you are going to stand on it to campaign. It's going to be difficult. Even if you want to handle that, you want to be a bit tactical in such a way that you can always have an exit route to run away from or through. That did not, happen initially. You saw them, instead of also giving out the real message, some of them took to what? Taking people on without telling us what they want to do. Some of them, their messages were nothing but also repetitive, and then telling us one thing that we know already and all that, and it didn't point to something meaningful that you and I can put our fingers on. But gradually, as we are getting to the die days, you realize that their campaigns are gradually being shaped by the public opinion that is impinging upon their activities. You see them more a little decorous now, and let me also be fair to the party that it announced. I don't know whether that group has been put in office and they are working. They announced that they are going to have an ethics committee that is going to look at the campaign and all that. If it exists, then I believe that it is part of the results that we are seeing, that they appear to be measured and tempered with regard to the way they go about the campaign and all that. So for now, it's gradually taking shape, and then you see the issues. People are taking people on, and then making sure that it is a point of what? Policy, it's a point of what? Ideas, and it's a point of loyalty to the party and how well you serve your party and the rest of them. These are the issues that should really occupy the attention of those who really want to campaign. You want to see the problems of the party, and by extension, the problems of the country, and that you want to develop message around, and then you have what? Questions answered in that regard. You want to also see a party's record and how far you can take it to campaign meaningfully to be able to win power. We want to see your track record and how it will going to impact on the work that you are going to do as a leader if you are voted at the end of the day. So we are seeing that, but it is my hope and prayer that they will be able to maintain the status quo as we are getting to the dying end of the period,
of the game.
So that the political terrain doesn't get bastardized and changed abruptly. Any deviation of that nature will really affect their chances. Of course, it will affect some people more than others. So I believe that they need to look at this direction and look at it critically.
The party director of elections is with us, Mr. Evans Nimako. So how's the ethics committee coming up? Mr. Nimako? Evans Nimako is, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. Am I with you?
Yeah. So I wanted to find out from you how the ethics committee is coming up.
Well, thank you, and let me say good morning to Dr. Asante. I've listened to him. I'm happy that he's been able to tell us that he's not gone to the field yet to pick qualitative data to support some of the issues running around. But the party is oblivious of these facts. At the moment, we are conducting our internal elections. When we are done, when we have our presidential candidates, we will draw the balance sheet. We draw the balance sheet between the NDC's presidential candidate, Mr. Mahama, and the New Patriotic Party's presidential candidate. So we will get there. But I appreciate those issues he has brought forth. On the issue of the campaign style and management of the various presidential candidates, the party, after adopting the Elections Committee's report or the Vetting Committee report, reminded the presidential aspirant and the party of the code of conduct that has been put together by the National Executive Committee. So the party has the chairman of the Council of Elders, Honorable Hakman Owusu-Agyemang, as the member of the committee, the chairman of the Legal and Constitutional Committee, eminent lawyer, Mr. Frank Davis, and the general secretary of the party, lawyer Kudia, as the three-member committee to coordinate the conduct and ensure full compliance of the code of conduct. And I think that after successive engagement with the presidential aspirants and their agents by the Elections Committee and other stakeholders, we've all come to the conclusion that we need to conduct an exercise that is that will meet the party's set rules, our constitution, our rules of engagement for the conduct of these primaries. At the end of the day, the New Patriotic Party is going to submit and sponsor a presidential candidate who is going to be the next president. We are mindful of the terrain, the contours of the democratic landscape, and I will once again assure you and viewers that the New Patriotic Party is ready to do the needful to conduct campaign towards the 2024 elections and come out victorious. After our internal elections, we will draw the balance sheet. And I am convinced and confident.
But Mr. Nimako, the viewers, I mean, if you go by the feeling of the populace, they are not really concerned about, you saying that you would win. They are concerned about their pockets and how living is for them. That's their concern. Whether you win or lose is not their problem.
So I've said that we are not oblivious of that fact, that the economy will have to be improved, that issues of security will have to be taken care of, that workers will have to be paid, that you have electricity and you have fuel, that you go out to the market and you are able to buy consumables and live a life of a human being. The party is aware of that, the government is aware of that. That's why we will put our support behind the government to develop programs that will take us from the challenges we are going through. Depending on where you sit, you appreciate it or otherwise. But at the end of the day, we must make life meaningful for all Ghanaians. And that is what the government is working towards. I mean, I said that I'm happy. Doc has mentioned issue of economy, issue of corruption, infrastructure, rule of law, and all that. I'm also saying that issue of security is a concern, employment is concern, workers' salaries are issues of concern to the government and to the party. And we do things that will make sure that we enhance the living standards of people.
Okay. So the party wants to wait after the election, then they will support the government to come up with programs to deal with the challenges of the economy, or it's something you're doing now?
I'm surprised about this question you are putting out. The government works every day.
No, I'm asking based on the response you gave me.
Don't get it wrong and don't put out.
No. I mean, your response was that the party will work hard to support the government to come up with policies to turn around the economy after the election. I'm asking that, is that not something you're doing now? You're waiting for the election before you do it? That was just yeah.
The government is operational. It's working day and night. I said that as a party, we are concentrating on our internal election. It doesn't mean that the government has halted its activities. I said that the party is also supporting the government to fashion out programs and policies that will transform the challenges that we are going through, to the extent that the good people of Ghana will be convinced that when we've gotten to December 2024, the story will be different as being told now by Dr. Asante. And I said, I'm happy that he said he has not hit the grounds to pick qualitative data, but appreciate this challenge. And I'm saying that we are not oblivious of that fact. And we will work hard to overturn the situation. When the party took over in 2016, things were not just as easy as that. But the party put together a team that transformed it. And I'm saying that there's going to be turnaround of these challenges we are going through. And I'm saying also that when we are done with our internal elections, when we have selected our presidential candidate, we will draw the balance sheet between the NPP's presidential candidate and Mr. John Mahama, who has been around since 2012 to 2016. We've known him. And as we speak, the New Patriotic Party keeps on coming up with programs and policies. Let the NDC also put forth policies that will transform Ghana. Where are the alternatives? And so that's what I'm talking about.
So what's the plan of healing the party after the special delegate?
The New Patriotic Party has done this before. We went into the 2007 presidential primaries. Our Council of Elders are ready to engage all stakeholders. And I can tell you, even before this process will come to an end, the continuous engagement by the Elections Committee and the presidential candidates and their agents have given the party enough hope that we are ready to go through this process. If you've seen our guidelines for the conduct of this special electoral college, it tells a lot. And it just didn't come from heaven. It is something that has been fashioned out by engagement with all key stakeholders, i.e. the Ghana Police Service, the Electoral Commission, the presidential aspirants, and the party's Presidential Elections Committee. And so we continue to work hand in hand, and we do things that will put us in the light and make sure that the people will have the confidence in us to win 2024 elections.
All right. Now, you were talking about the fact that after this election, you draw the balance sheet between the NPP, your candidate, and Mr. John Mahama. Now, you're asking for alternatives, which is quite good. We're waiting for the alternatives to see where and how we even go about, questioning both of you. But you're going to draw the balance sheet between someone who left you, the exchange rate around 4. Now it's above 9. How are you looking at convincing the Ghanaian that your candidate is the best one compared to someone who left the exchange rate, for example, at 4?
Okay, so my brother, at this stage, we are not going to give the NDC or the opponent the parameters within which we draw those lines. And if you want us to discuss the issue of the exchange rates, forest has gone up. We need to look at the consumption patterns of the Ghanaian, and we need to look at what is running around the world. I mean, for the first time in UK, their inflation had gone up. Most economies have suffered post-COVID and within this Russia-Ukraine. And Dr. Asante said that argument cannot hold water. And I'm saying that if you sit at where you need to put together all these figures, you appreciate it. And I'm saying even in these difficulties, workers have had to be paid on monthly basis. We have had to have electricity running. We've not run out of fuel. At least we have some consumables. Things are tough though, but the government is working hard to ensure that we overturn them. It is not getting any easy any day, but we need to work hard and ensure that we have programs that will take us out of this quagmire. And so I appreciate them. But I'm saying that when we have settled on our candidate, we will draw the balance sheet.
Okay. I'm looking forward to this balance sheet, really, because then the Ghanaian will question that you've done well to make fuel available to us in this difficult time. I mean, we have power, but then the question will be our purchasing ability. These are not, I mean, the price of fuel is going up day in, day out. And so the Ghanaian will question that, the price of fuel, the price of electricity, and then all of that, you know. So we are really waiting for that balance sheet and how you convince us that, well, even though prices, the price of petrol is high, but you have to look at me making it available to you, you know. So it'll be an interesting debate going into 2024. But I'm really waiting for that one to see how it goes. So this Saturday, what are the procedures? I mean, what are the processes for this special Congress that's coming up?
Well, thank you. So just I'll keep you in that suspense, but I'll come along with you in assessing our candidate as against the NDC's known presidential candidate whom we've defeated in two elections, 2016 and 2020. And we are going to do the same in 2024. We know how to do it. Back to the issue of our special electoral college that comes up Saturday. The party in each of the regional centers have created voting centers that will be manned by the Electoral Commission's regional directors. It commences at 9 a.m. and will close at 13 hours, that is 1 p.m. After which the EC will do the counting and announce results at all the regional centers and transmit the results to the EC's headquarters for collation. There will also be another voting center at the party headquarters to take care of the Council of Elders, our external branch delegates, our wings, our National Executive Committee, our ministers of state who are not MPs. And at the regional level, we will have the regional representation to Council of Elders, our foundation members, our regional executive committee members, our members of parliament, and regional ministers voting at the regional level. In all, we have a total of 958 delegates voting across the regions and the nation. The party's constitution is clear that where there are more than 5 of them, these are the people who have to vote to sieve the number to 5. So we have the National Council members, the National Executive Committee members, the Regional Executive Committee, MPs, ministers who are card-bearing members. Our external branch, 27 of them are bringing 3 delegates each. Our wings are having to bring 3 delegates. Our wings include the youth, the women, and the national wing will bring 3 delegates each. All our Council of Elders are delegates to this special electoral college. And so that is how the party's Constitution Article 1319 defines those who are delegates to this special electoral college. And so having met with the presidential candidates and their agents, the Electoral Commission and the Ghana Police Service, all issues bordering on security will be handled by the Ghana Police Service. The party has handed over, as determined by our rules of engagement, issues of the conduct of the elections in the hands of the EC. We have a register of these people, its photo album given to all the aspirants, they have them. And the EC will, on the 26th, Saturday ahead of us, use the register. Candidates will have their agents, 2 each accredited, 1 at a time, stationed at the polling station to monitor the process. And when we are done, each will be given a copy of the result sheet. And there are do's and don'ts in these elections. Even though this election is being done by the EC, the participants are senior party members, we are still reminding them that nobody should go in there with anything that will take a picture or photo of where the person would have voted, and nobody will also do anything that will show that where anybody voted is being determined. We are doing this between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. And so the EC is in charge of that. When the election process are all done, the ballot papers will be put into tamper-proof envelope, sealed in the ballot box. All candidates are allowed to put their personal seals on all the ballot boxes. The ballot boxes will be transported to the EC headquarters in Accra for safekeeping. I think when this is done, the results will finally be declared at the EC, the party headquarters at Asalam. And so we are hoping that for all that the prospective candidates have done in terms of being presidential candidates, visiting party constituencies, meeting with polling station executives, electoral coordinators, constituency executives, and other stakeholders. The kind of energy, excitement that they brought to the base, I think is very commending. And we must say that in all this, you said the battle has been the loss. They've been traveling around the country with their vehicles, with their team and all that. And thankfully, issues of accident have been out. We continue to thank God and commit them to the hands of the Lord Almighty, that as we prepare, go into Saturday's program, we are still protected by the Almighty.
Okay. But the collation and announcement of results will be happening at the polling station before they are transported to the national office, right?
Yes, the results once it is 1 p.m. and no polling station presiding officer will open the ballot until it is 1 o'clock and where the delegates have all cast their votes.
Okay.
So after 1 o'clock, when that is done, it will be counted and then the results sheet will be filled, announced at that voting center, and then agent giving copies of the result sheet, and all results will then be transmitted electronically to the EEC's coalition center in Accra. When the EEC is done with the coalition at their headquarters, they will move to the party's headquarters at Salamdown to announce the final results for us to know who the first 5 are for the next round of elections in November 4, 2023.
Mr. Evans Nimako, I'm grateful to you for the education you've given us this morning. All the best.
My pleasure.
And Dr. Kwame Asante also joined us. I'm grateful to you too for joining us with your perspectives. This is still the AM show. We have more to come your way. Do stay with us. We will be right back. Now, let's talk about our latest Hotline documentary, Whispers in the Dark. Now, this is a piece on what could cause children as young as 7 years to contemplate suicide or even make attempt. My colleague of the health desk has put this together and looking at what children are even thinking. Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entry is president of Psychiatrists Association of Ghana. She is joining me. Dr. Nimako Kwashi is a suicidologist. Wow. The University of Ghana. Grateful to you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, great. Let me start with the psychologist. This is quite an interesting area, and it's something that no one has ever thought about, that children could even be contemplating suicide. What from, your experience or your expertise could lead us to understand what is leading these children to be contemplating suicide? Doc, I wanted to find out from, the psychologist, I mean, because you are into psychology, you would better help us to get this. I want to find out from you what could be, the causal factors leading these children to be contemplating suicide. Dr. Osuentri. Dr. Ruth Osuentri. Okay. Once we don't have her, let me turn my attention to the suicidologist, Niboy Kwashe, doctor. Doc, so if you could help us answer this question of what could be causing the children to be contemplating suicide, I'd be grateful.
Right, my brother, thank you very much for the question. And first of all, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners out there. So yes, this is an important question, but I would want to restrict my response to the evidence that we have from Ghana. We are at the moment working on, we are completed with a study and we're working on the publication of it. Pretty shortly, it should come out for public consumption after it has gone through peer review. We're almost at the end. But I'd like to touch on the key evidence of that paper. In that study, what we sought to do was to look at some of the factors that are leading our young children to engage in suicidal behaviors. We looked at persons aged 6 through 12 years old. And we saw a few factors. Most of them were within the social context within which these young people are growing. Primarily, we saw one or some of the factors within the family context, where some of these young people who had attempted their behavior attributed their behavior to scolding or punishment or corporal punishment, to be more specific, by parents or guardians within the family context. Then also where these young people are having conflict with their parents. We've seen cases where you have siblings. There's a fight between two siblings, and the parent comes in as the arbiter, and sometimes the parents are unable to balance the arbitration process, and they end up scolding one in favor of the other child. And sometimes those children who feel that their parents' judgments have not been fair, they also have mentioned to us that those experiences push them into suicidality. Then within the school context, we have also come across young people who have indicated to us in our research that, look, the problem with examination failure, we live in a context where emphasis within the educational sector is overly placed on passing exams, making stellar grades, and so on. And this pressure is coming from peers, it's coming from teachers, it's coming from parents. So all the key stakeholders around the child who is in the classroom are mounting some kind of pressure on these young people to perform. And so when they are unable to deliver, they feel they have not lived up to expectation. They tend to develop some kind of disappointment in themselves, and also disappointment towards their significant others. And so these are some of the factors that we have seen within the family and then the school context. Then again, another dimension of this research is also pointing to an interesting bit that we think that we need as a country to be looking at. It has to do with some attributions that have been made by significant others who are raising these young people. And here I mean parents, guardians, and neighbors. Some of them have told us, and these were cases where the children have died through suicide. And when we contacted these significant others, the attributions they made touched on several things. And the key one I'm talking about is where there is that belief that these young people tend to see the portrayal of suicide in a very explicit way on TV. And so the point is that the way suicide is reported and portrayed by the media is also not helping. In fact, globally, it is fairly established that the inappropriate or rather irresponsible portrayal of suicidal behaviors and self-harm in media can lead up to imitative suicidal behaviors and also contagion of the behavior. We are yet to find any such evidence in Ghana through our research, but anecdotally, from what is happening, we should have some degree of certainty to expect that that effect may also exist in our context. And so, yes, in summary, these are some of the key findings we found specifically on pre-adolescent and children suicidal behaviors in Ghana.
Did the research point out why these are becoming, issues now?
Well, that's a big question. To be honest with you, globally, attention is now getting onto child suicide. It's not just a Ghanaian problem. And so it isn't just in Ghana that we don't have sufficient data to speak to the issue. It is a global problem. In the 70s and 80s, when suicide research started across Africa, for example, and in Ghana, you would always find the researchers indicating that, okay, they found nothing among sometimes adolescent and younger children, way until somewhere around the late 90s that studies began to focus on these young children. Even that, the focus was just on adolescent and youth. Nobody paid attention to children at all. And so it's a general global problem. And again, don't forget that the world gradually is becoming a small place, so that what happens in the smallest corner somewhere in the world becomes open to the rest of the world, mainly because of technology in various forms, television, social media, and all the other means by which the world is able to bring itself into a small place. And so it's something that is not, for me, enigmatic. It will require some more attention in terms of research so we can explore that. So it's a challenge not just for Ghana, it's a global problem, and we need to begin doing something about it.
Okay. Dr. Ruth Osu-Entry is president of the Psychiatrists Association of Ghana. She joins us via Zoom as well. Doc, good morning and welcome. How does the environment of a child play a role in all of this child suicide that we're seeing lately?
Thank you very much for having me. The earlier speaker has said a lot about what the research going on has found. Things in the environment definitely contribute, because when you talk about suicide, you cannot leave out mental conditions. More than 95% of attempted suicide has been traced to untreated and an ongoing mental conditions. And when you talk about mental conditions or mental disorders, it's usually a combination of what goes on in the environment plus genetic predisposition. And so what exactly in the environment can contribute to the suicide attempts or suicide cases in children. What they see, children are very photographic. They learn from the things going on around people, older people. They imitate and all that. And so what is key for children, especially those of us in this part of the world, is the things we allow them to watch on the TV. One child was telling me that he attempted suicide because he watched a movie in which an adult died by suicide, but in the part 2, this person, and they were watching another movie, and this same person was in the movie. And so it's for that child, he thought that, you don't necessarily die when you have attempted suicide, or when you have tried to kill yourself by suicide. And these are children who are watching movies without parents guiding them and explaining things to them. They watch all sorts of cartoons that are not right for their age, or sometimes they do not even understand. We tend to believe that once it's cartoons, that is it. But then aside that, children also go through mental health challenges. So whatever affects the adult in the environment, if there is abuse, the child can get depressed and can start contemplating suicide. If there is bullying, the child can get depressed or can get anxious or can develop some psychotic disorder and start thinking about suicide. So these are some of the things in the environment of children that can start them, that can lead them to start thinking about ending their lives through suicide.
You mentioned that some of the victims that have, or the survivors that have spoken to you, mentioned or could be suffering from some mental issues. But how can we determine that a child is mentally unstable when probably there are no signs being exhibited?
I have said this a couple of times that mental health, or yes, the area of mental health is still has still a lot of way to go. We are at a point in science that you cannot send someone to the lab and go and say, go and check for depression, so that you have 2 classes of depression or 3 classes of depression, or you go and do some CT scan. Most of our diagnosis is based on a group of symptoms that have been studied over the years. And it is not as if it's just the symptoms. Several research and studies have proven that these changes that are seen on the outside are backed by neurochemical changes. And the simple thing that will let you know that someone is going through or maybe going through a mental challenge is a change in the personality of the person, a change in the behavior. If someone is an introvert, we all know that this child in the house will usually not join the siblings playing. That is how they have been all their lives. And then all of a sudden, that child has become boisterous. He's fighting everybody. He's all over the place, jumping up and down, not sleeping. That is a change from who the person is. And that is one of the first signs we can use to pick a start of a mental illness. The converse is also true. A child who is outgoing, very friendly, all over the place all the time, and suddenly becomes reserved, suddenly will not play with the siblings, suddenly there is a drop in academics. These are all signs that there may be a mental disorder. So the change in the personality of a child is one of the things we can use to pick the start of a mental disorder. Sudden decline in academics is one of the things we can pick. And then a decline in developmental milestone. For instance, if a child who has attained dryness at night, they no longer have to wear diapers at night, so they're able to get up and go and pee and all that. And all of a sudden, they are bedwetting. You should quickly think that there is something wrong. It's one of the signs. You should not suddenly shout at that child that, oh, what is happening to you? That now you're always sweating your bed and all that. That is another sign that will let you know that this child may be going through a mental illness. And at that point, that child must get a full mental assessment. So the change is what should let the parent or the adult or the caregiver decide that I need to send this child for an assessment. And after the full assessment, if there is no problem, the experts will give you advice, but most of the time, these changes will point to a problem or a start of a mental disorder, and then help can be given.
Let me bring in Dr. Nibo here. Doc, in terms of suicide, what are the triggers? What should a parent see to probably alert him or her that, no, my child could be getting closer to this point? Dr. Niboy. Okay, so
hello.
Doc, did you get my question?
Yes.
In terms of,
I heard you. I think
great.
I was muted by the host.
So
right. So thanks a lot. For the question is about triggers of child suicide.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. But before I get into response to that, let me make a quick submission in relation to the 95% statistics about suicide. So I think that it's important that we are careful about how we take down these statistics because it's important that we establish it clearly that suicidality in children and young people can be different from what happens in adults. So, for example, it is established that if we tend to look at child suicidality strictly within the domains of mental health disorders, we may have a problem. And the problem will be what we call medicalization. We'll end up presenting suicidality in these young children or people as though it were a medical condition. And so typically you hear people say that, well, he's depressed, she was depressed, and attempted suicide or died by suicide. Now, once we begin overly emphasizing these problems, what we are going to have is that the thinking will be, okay, so let's get some antidepressants, let's get some anti-anxiety medication for the people. Evidence shows that in adults, if you present antidepressants, it leads to some reduction in suicidal behaviors. But in adolescents and children, if you administer antidepressants and all of these other psychiatric medications, what we typically will see is an increase in suicidal behaviors. The point I'm making is that the evidence about the 95% statistics is fairly established in Western contexts. In our context, the triggers, the factors that precipitate suicidal behaviors are largely existential in nature. The everyday existential problem, the everyday relationship problems within the family context, within the school context. You'll be amazed that here in Ghana and for that matter, Africa, that simple problem of food insecurity, a child going hungry in a day can
Doc, unfortunately, I'm not getting your sound. Dr. Niboy, check your sound for me. Unfortunately, all of a sudden, I'm not getting the sound there. But you're making a very fantastic point about food security.
The relationship within our
go back to where you said food security is even a factor for a child to commit suicide.
Right. So I was just saying that the issue of suicide is largely context and culture driven. And so we want to be careful not to push suicidality or suicidal behavior into the context of pathologizing or medicalization. It is not a medical problem. It is a behavior that has a history and a logic behind it. And so I was trying to say that certain causes or precipitants of suicidal behavior that have been found in Western contexts are not necessarily precipitants in our context.
Okay.
So, for example, In our context, Ghana and generally within sub-Saharan Africa, among adolescents and other young population, hunger, going without food for some hours in the day or for a whole day, can make a child have suicidal thoughts. But this is not there in the West. And so it's important that we discuss these issues within the context in which we live.
Okay.
I'm saying this because there are times we listen to various media platforms, some of the things that are written there, the people you invite and so on. And myself and Dr. Entry and so on, some of us are really concerned about how people they just come and pour things that are established in the West that do not necessarily apply to our context. For us to make any meaningful inroads towards preventing suicide among any age population, we need to be sure that it is within the context of our country. So yes, the triggers and the risk factors can be sometimes a bit blurry. And I think that Dr. Entry did a good job by touching on some of the many factors that caregivers and significant other adults must be looking out for. I think that sometimes as parents and caregivers, we tend to be continuing setting traditional ways of raising children, which we did not even find helpful. So for example, when we were growing up, our parents lashed us, they flogged us. We didn't enjoy it as children, but today we are adults, and some of us are passing that behavior onto our children. We are flogging them, we are caning them. Some of us are still adherent or religiously adherent to the belief that children must be seen and not heard.
Well, Doc, I'm not saying it is good, but when you were flogged, you didn't contemplate suicide. But so why are they contemplating suicide when they are flogged?
Well, the world has changed. In my time, there was no social media.
Okay.
To watch television, you would go and stand behind the window of Papa Kwame in the evening, and he would open his window. The television is black and white. Today, it is not like that. And so the world has become a small place. You know, I was telling somebody that I had photosynthesis for the first time when I was in junior high school. Today, a child in class 1 knows what photosynthesis is. You know, and so we have to get much more closer to our children, allow our children to be part of our world as adults, so we can have conversation with them, open conversation. Let's be careful not to engage in helicopter parenting. Many of our young people now, not just in primary or junior high school, but also in the university, are having problem with how some parents overly monitor them. You know, the next few minutes you call them, where are you? Are you coming? You know, all of monitoring is good, but it must be done in a balanced and supportive ways. For our children, they must be part of the process. But where we stand there as engineers trying to tailor the lives of our children the way we want it to be, because that was how we were brought up, sometimes it can backfire. It's good we watch our children. We have to really observe them. When there are subtle changes, some of these changes can go unnoticed, but as a parent or a caregiver, you have to monitor the children in a way that will make you see changes easily. And then you can approach them, have open conversation with them. Don't be harsh, give them listening ears. There are times our children just want to tell us something. They don't need to hear us. They don't want to get an advice from us. They just want someone who will just listen to them. And I think that is very important. It's not just for parents, but as well for teachers, because teachers spend a greater amount of the hours of the day with our children from all manner of homes. And so it's important that we observe our children closely, but most importantly, have an open, non-threatening communication atmosphere around them.
Okay. Dr. Ozwentry, I want to find out whether there are things that they would exhibit that should probably, get a parent to say, well, maybe my child is getting closer to this point and so I should be worried? Are there signs? What are they?
Yes, I've already mentioned some of the earlier signs. But in addition to that...
I mean, that is the mental issue. But I want to find out if they are closer to committing suicide, do they show certain signs that a parent should be worried about?
All right. You will not always get the signs and symptoms. But some of them would suddenly start crying overly after a little correction or punishment. I have a recent child who attempted suicide, and the mom was telling us, now when you have just screamed at this child, or you have just used 2 fingers to beat this child at the back of the palm for something wrong they did, they will cry all day, which was strange. This child was as young as 9 years old, had all the symptoms of clinical depression. So you will not see the child sad on the face like an adult will do, or lying in bed all the time. But this child, having been punished with that small kind of reprimand, will cry almost all day. And these were some of the leading points to the point the child decided that I've had enough, let me just end it. For that child, fortunately, she was unsuccessful. We had opportunity to take her through treatment, but she didn't have to start with medications. And so we don't use medications all the time for children with mental challenges. Okay. And there are other things I've talked about, and when the child would socially isolate themselves. So they give complaints that, Mommy, I don't want to go to school because I have a headache, or because of a flimsy excuse. They are exhibiting signs that will let you know they probably are getting close to the times. When we sit at the clinic, these are some of the things we pick from children who were unsuccessful at suicide, or who attempted suicide. Okay. And so when they have to go to school, you have given them paracetamol, they don't feel febrile, and yet they are giving flimsy excuses. Mommy, my leg hurts. Mommy, it's headache. Or Mommy, this teacher did this to me, so I don't want to go to school. And they want to isolate themselves and probably get the chance to get everybody out of the way. We see in this documentary, this child's mother constantly asking him to come inside and sleep. And the child says, I'll stay on the veranda. He wanted an opportunity to get everybody out of the way. And so some of these subtle changes should quickly click, that especially in a child whose personality and behavior has changed over the days, even if they have not had an assessment, should quickly click that they may have something up their sleeve. Don't give them a chance to be alone, or don't give the chance to get everybody out of their way, because that is the chance they are waiting to be able to actually do the act of taking their lives.
Dr. Ruth Osuentri, President of the Psychiatrists Association of Ghana, I'm grateful to you for joining us. And Dr. Niboy Kwashe, he is a suicidologist at the University of Ghana. Grateful to you for joining us as well. I'm sure that parents have learned 1 or 2 from this conversation, and that we'll be careful how we deal with our children and be very vigilant in the attitude of our children to determine the changing point. Well, this is still the AM show. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with a conversation around Chale Wote. Stay with us. All right, so welcome back to the AM show. Time for us to talk about, before we talk about Chale Wote, let's talk about insurance. You know, the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana are coming up with, some award scheme. They are awarding some individuals. And we need to talk about it. What is the focus of that, and what's really up for grabs? Yvonne Osei Ado is Vice President of the Chartered Institute of Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana. and she's also the COO of Bedrock Insurance. Oh, Bedrock, huh? Yes. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good morning.
Okay. Now, let's look at what's the inspiration behind this award that you're bringing up.
Okay, so the CIG, Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, is the professional body for members or individuals in the Insurance Institute. Okay. We've been around for more than 50 years, and I think in 2019, our then president said the insurance industry needs to be known and heard. You know, we are always bemoaning insurance penetration, insurance reach. And if we come up with an award scheme where our members are awarded and rewarded for excellence, it will help them to market themselves, it will help them to do the right thing and continue to strive for excellence. It was based on that the CIG came up with the award scheme. I mean, of all the industry bodies, we have members that cut across. Okay. We have brokers, we have reinsurers, we have insurers. So we were best placed to come up with such an award scheme.
How do you foresee this award helping your members to then go about growing the industry and doing the right things that you envision?
Exactly. Like I said, it's an excellence award. If you do not do the right thing, you do not qualify. Members are encouraged to strive to be their best. Once you're awarded, I know in Akan there's this saying to it, it's he who climbs a good tree is pushed.
Exactly,
Until you are the power, if you do the right thing, if you excel, definitely you'll be recognized and given the platform. It keeps our members on their toes. It makes them come up with innovative ways to doing things, to making insurance accessible to the public, to putting their name out there because people are watching. Once you win an award, you know people are watching. People hear about what you have won and expect the very best from you. So then our members strive to be the best.
And is that how the award has impacted on the insurance community in Ghana?
Yes, I want to believe so. I mean, everybody now wants to be part of the awards. They want the recognition for excelling at what they do. And they want the public to know them and their name. Yes.
So any story of how past winners have benefited from this award scheme?
Okay, so for individuals, I know a few people who won last year who now do a lot more writing and publishing. Pick the dailies, the BNFT, and then you find an article on insurance from them. People are now researching to come up with innovative ways on selling insurance. People are going global. I mean, it's amazing the young people who have won and are going global and have also won on the global stage. It's actually heartwarming and encouraging to read the CIG. That's how come we want to do this more and do it better.
Okay, yes. Interesting. We love to see more of Ghanaians doing wonderful things, especially in the international scene. So this is good that we're having this. I'm sure you have different categories, and they may all come with different criteria.
Yes.
What are they?
Okay, so we have the investor category. It's for everyone. Brokers, insurers, the health sector, pensions. We have Young Insurance Professional of the Year. We have Insurance Professional of the Year. We also have CSR Company of the Year. Employee Development Company of the Year.
CSR Company of the Year.
Yes, we have a company. We are awarding the companies that go out, reach out to the general public, and then do CSR. Yes, social responsibility. We have Employee Development Company of the Year. I mean, if you are not developing your employees, then what are you doing? So then companies are compelled, are encouraged to come up with ways to train their staff internally and externally. Yes. Then we have the broker category. Brokers are intermediaries. They are intermediaries between the insurance companies and then the public. So there are awards for that. We have the health sector. There are awards for Best Private Health Insurance of the Year, Best Private Products of the Year. We have pensions, and pensions companies that have innovative products for their members. It's all there.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure there's favoritism everywhere. If I'm your favorite, you try to do things to favor me in a way. Yes. How do you ensure fairness and impartiality in your selection process?
That is quite tough. Like you said, there's always prejudice and favoritism. But then we have KPMG.
Okay.
They are a statistician. They come up with how things have to be done to ensure that it is fair. On the panel, the awards panel, we have individuals from diverse walks of the insurance industry who would ensure that there isn't any partiality. Okay, they come up with a criteria. It isn't one person comes up with it. Okay, so because of that, everybody has a say in it to ensure there's fairness. Then KPMG takes it from there and ensure that everything is done without any favoritism. Most of the people on the panel, in fact, all the people on the panel are stalwarts in the insurance industry. They have done their bit. They know all aspects of the industry. We have from our regulatory body, we have from brokers, from insurers, from life, from pensions, from health. Everybody there is a representative of one aspect of the industry. So they would stand up for the best for their industry and for their sector and ensure that it is done well and right.
Okay, well, I mean, once you have an independent player in there, you can be assured that this will be done. There are awards ceremonies nearing.
Yes.
How's the level of anticipation in the industry?
It's exciting.
Really?
Yes. I mean, it's one of the biggest events of the insurance industry. So we have a lot of people asking for their tickets. I'm already sold out.
Oh.
Yes. And I know on the D-Day, people will come asking when the tickets are finished. And I'll have to disappoint them. But then in the industry, there's the excitement. Every time the CIG does something, it's always exciting. This is our third edition. From the past two editions, I know people have had a feel and are looking forward to it. So it's exciting. Yes, everybody is asking questions. And then
okay. So once it's sold out, it means some of us cannot be there.
Oh, we already have tickets for you. We do not have a problem at all. We have reserved your tickets. Sorted.
We're sorted. Okay.
Yes.
But how do the CIG awards position CIG itself as an authority within the insurance space?
Like I said, we have, it's for our members. We are the only body that has members that cut across. Okay, so everybody comes to the CIG, come in with their ideas, their ideologies, and we shape and we discuss and we make sure that whatever we bring out benefits everybody. We are not solely aligned to one sector. We have brokers, we have insurers, we have reinsurers. We even have members of the regulator as part of us. So then we are in the position to cater for everybody, all individuals in the insurance industry without any favoritism or biases. Yes.
How does this help raise the profile of the insurance industry on a broader scale?
If you need someone to talk about insurance and come to a CIG, we can direct you to the best person.
Okay.
We can give you people.
That's the award winner?
It can be the award winner, it can be our mentors, it can be anyone in the insurance industry. We know them, we've worked with them. They mentor, they train, they teach. So once you come to us, we can tell you that, see this person or this person can help you. Once you come to us, we can tell you that, okay, this issue you have brought, maybe the GIA or the Broker Association is poised to handle it. Come to us for anything you want in the industry, any information, and they will be in the best position to help you out because we can reach out to anybody and know who to direct you to.
And if I'm not being treated fairly by my insurance company too, are the right people I come to? Because
come to us
hear
and
a lot of these issues.
Yeah, a lot of them. Come to us, we will direct you to the appropriate quarters.
Okay.
Yes.
Any new category being contemplated?
For this year, not exactly. I think all the categories we've had have featured in the past awards, but we are looking to doing much more next year.
Okay.
Opening it up. Plans are already in place. Okay. I mean, as we are doing this one, we are thinking about the next one because we know this one will be a success and people will look forward to the other one. So yes, we have a lot more new categories next year rather than this year.
In that bit then, what is the vision, the vision of the awards looking like?
We want the
I mean, going into the future,
We want it to be a very big award.
Okay.
We want it to be on the lips of every Ghanaian. We want the international market to see the CIG and know that they are the people to go to if I want to come into the Ghanaian markets. They are the people to partner with. They are people to access and discuss issues with, and I will get solutions. We want the awards to showcase us on all platforms, internationally, locally. We want insurance to be a household name. We want insurance to be understood and appreciated by all.
Okay. What will be your message to the players who will be participating in the awards?
I want them to know that the awards is not just one of those things. It puts you on a pedestal. It lets people know the stuff you are made of. Once you partake in the awards, you have big shoes to fill. You have a reputation to uphold. Let people see you and know that you are the best in what you do, and you deserve the award you have been given.
Interesting. I'm really feeling like I'm getting ready for this award. Please get me my ticket so that
Have your ticket sorted. You do not have a problem.
So where is this being held?
Okay, so it's on the 26th of August, this Saturday. So we are in the Excellence Week.
Okay.
The CIG will call it the Excellence Week because it's the CIG Excellence Award. So it's the Excellence Week. So it's this Saturday at Movenpick.
Okay.
Yes, at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yes. So it's the 6th August, this Saturday.
Have the awardees been decided already, or
No. So nominees will come out tomorrow. They'll be published tomorrow. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's only KPMG who knows
Who
the
the
winner.
nominees
Yeah,
are.
exactly. So
Okay.
we are waiting for them to tell us who the nominees are. Then we can hype the nominees and then
decide on the winner on the D-Day.
yes,
Okay.
they'll come up with the winner on the D-Day.
All right. Let's see how it goes, but I wish you all the best, yeah?
Thank you.
So you won't be awarding yourself?
Oh, no, I am not part. I am an executive, so I am not part.
Okay. All right. But you're the CEO for the Bedrock Insurance, so your company could qualify for...
Yes, but we didn't file this year. Well, we'll be filing next year.
Okay.
Yes.
Yvonne Oseyado, what was that? Is it Charmaine?
Yeah, Charmaine. Oh, you did well. Oh.
I went to a better school anyway.
Which is?
It is called Badu Bonso.
Nice.
Senior High Technical School.
Nice.
In the Western region.
Wow.
Maboni
Maboni.
Yeah, Antadi. Yes, was by now. I'm going for any aji. Enter me to me born. Say no. Omo manko school papa no. Omo to me born champagne no. Omo home fi say champagne.
Yeah. Sir. Ebi unka can the chairman.
Well, you see. School papa dey onya na wako. Anyway. So Yvonne Charmaine Oseyado, Vice President of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana and Chief Operations Officer of the Bedrock Insurance. Thanks for coming on our show.
Thank you for having me.
All the best.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So now it's time for us to talk to you about Chalet Wote. Yeah. So let's take you to Osu Castle where my colleague IB, Ibrahim Ben Brako, is standing by. IB, take it over from me.
There. And then it's playing. So it's a whole family set up our day-to-day activities in our community. These are chief drummers that I know personally. I know this man personally who plays here. It's called Shan. It's called Shan. And then this is Obonofuache. I know all of them as human. So I try to mimic them in that small space and then let them also have a feeling that somebody really cares about their work.
Okay, we're transmitting live from the Osu Castle and we're both on Joy News and Joy Prime. Well, if you're just joining us on Joy News, this is the very first day of the Chalote Street Art Festival, which has flip-flopped from Jamestown to Osu. And we're starting from here at the Crescent Castle, and there's going to be a procession, and then after the procession in the Osu town, we will come back to the Crescent Castle for the official opening of the festival. Now, I am so interested. I will come back to this. I'll come back to this, but I'm so interested in this. Is this also a woman you know personally? This one.
Behind every man, there should be a woman. I think there's a problem somewhere, and they used to be like this, either like this. But now, I don't know. So why would the doctor come? The doctor will tell us why they are there like that.
And I can also see that you have set up and somewhere a place that looks like it's overgrown, or is this part of the art?
It's a discovery and it's a pain to me because years back, our successive presidents, this is where they die. This is where they call their shots, their fun memories and all of that. And then me coming back again into the castle and seeing it like this, is like something must be done.
Is that what motivated this particular art that you have?
And that also because I use waste, trash to do my collections and productions. I think this is the ideal place for me to choose and revive this place again.
I can see pure water sachets.
Yes.
What are these?
These are this is dry leaves that I swept here, not really here, but I sweep from the street or every other places. And then these are sachet what I used myself. The ones I drank and I just fill them, not throw them away. I keep them and then use them. And then these are beads, of course. I didn't do this, but there's brown cotton, there's leaves, and then there's tree glue. Then finally I use paint to bring colors to it.
So these and more is what you are going to be seeing here at the Street Festival, the Chalote Street Festival. And also you should keep watch on all our social media platforms. Hit FM is going to bring you comprehensive. Well, Joy News is going to bring you comprehensive. Joy FM is going to bring you comprehensive. Joy Prime, we're going to be bringing you comprehensive. Online, we're going to be giving you stories. And also on all our social media platforms. Hit FM, Joy Prime, Joy News, Joy FM, Joy Entertainment. Please keep a look there because we're going to be bringing you a lot. Like I told you earlier on, there's going to be a street procession today from Independence Square into the Osu Township. And then we'll come back to the Independence Square and then come back to the Kirstenbourg Castle where the official launch will be held. And then this evening there are going to be a lot of film screenings, there are going to be a lot of saloon workshop, there are going to be a lot of murals, a lot of painting. This evening is actually going to mark the official opening. And please, just so wherever you're watching, I need to remind you that it has flip-flopped from Jamestown into the Osu Township. Yes, and you know that the Chalote Street Art Festival is a celebration of the abolishment of the slave trade. Yes, so a lot of slaves, were transported from Osu into wherever they find themselves, into the diasporans, and this is telling a better story. And for 13 years, it has been ongoing. For 13 years, Chalote Street Art Festival has been, making sure that they've been garnering a humongous crowd and revelers from all around the globe, and they've been coming here, and this year is going to be exceptional. We will bring you comprehensive, and we will be bringing you the live possession this afternoon. But stay tuned. Don't flip off this channel.
All right, so let's wrap it up by picking your thought on the issues that we've discussed here. We've talked about the NPP's Special Delegate Congress that is coming up this weekend. Who amongst the 10 will make it to the last five? You can share your thought with us on that one. Again, we're speaking about child suicide. Why or how come young people, young children as young as 7 years are contemplating suicide? You've had the education there. What brings or what causes those tendencies? And what must be done? What do you make of that as well? Share your thought with us here on the show. 0302211691. 0302211691. Call us and let's have your thought on this. But when you call us, please don't listen to yourself on the TV. Can you listen to yourself on the phone so we can have a very nice conversation? Who will be our first caller? Do let's hear from you. You can take the NPP's story and give us your first 5, or you can talk about the child suicide and let's have your viewpoint about what you think must happen for that not to be happening. Well, 0302211691. So who do you think will make the last 5 of the NPP's flag bearer race? Isaac, good morning to you. Let's have your viewpoint, sir. Hello, Isaac.
Hello.
Great. Good morning. Let's have your thoughts, sir.
Morning.
Oh, Milozro, that Kedia. Adumela, now Afra Boy Nafa. Sunyani. Oh, solid. Good. Let's hear you, sir.
In fact, talking about the race in the NPP, I'm of the thought that the trait of the Vice President, Kennedy Japan.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I will not be surprised if the next Japan can also make it to the 5.
Kennedy, you mean Kwabene Japan there? Okay.
Japan can also make it to the 5 because listening to him, I hope he's the best offer for the NPP.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So Isaac began with my language. He greeted me in a hunter, and I had to, reply him, and we did a bit of chit chat there in our language there. So Isaac, grateful for getting in touch. You can also give us a call 0302211691, and let's have your thought on the issues that we've discussed here. You can take a bite on the NPP's issue. They are going into a special delegates congress this weekend to elect 5 out of the 10 to proceed to the National Delegates Congress. So would you think we'll make the last 5? And then you can also touch on the childhood suicide. What do you think parents can do so that we can help stem this stem the tide? 0302211691. You can give us a call. We have some 3 minutes to end. So we can pick like 2 more calls. Who will we get on the phone lines? You can give us a call so we can hear from you. But parents should now be keeping a keen or taking a keen interest in their children, because, like the experts have gotten us to understand, what we do also influences the children to contemplate suicide. What you expose the children to also causes them to contemplate suicide. So how much of an exposure are you giving your children in terms of the content on TV they can watch? How are you regulating their access to TV content? All of that should now, get us to think about how we do monitor our children and how you even scold them. The experts say also plays a role. So how are you punishing your child for what he or she has done? That plays a role. We must be very vigilant to the changes in our children. We shouldn't just let them be. You should be quite worried about the stages in your child, so that you would prevent your child from falling prey to the childhood suicide. And that production comes up tonight at 8 p.m. on the channel. Do make a date on that. Well, that's how we wrap up the AM show for you today. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. On behalf of the team, grateful that you could join us here. News Desk is up next with Mami A.C. Thompson. Good morning.